You're watching Suck Professor. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. I'm joined by
James
the Sullen, Keeper of the Frowns, Master of Oi,
or the Broken after this.
James the Bro. Oh, come here. Put your head on my voluptuous pecs.
Not that broken.
Oh, not that. All right, fine. Not enough to need some motherly soothing. Welcome to our show, everybody. Welcome to the best YouTube channel in YouTube history. Not an understatement. I mean, no, wait, overstate. Hey, everybody, it's our show. This is the season finale recap, shot-by-shot breakdown analysis of Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 6, entitled The I Ran from the Throne. Yes. James is fleeing.
Not exactly the season finale, but also the series finale.
Oh, yeah, the series finale. So for anybody who's new, we take screenshots, we press print screen. It's sort of a podcast with pictures. I like to describe it because we go off on tangents and we have fun with it. We're not looking to get too serious about this, but I mean, our regular viewers know all that stuff, but occasionally new people might click on this stuff. Or you can check out our previous episodes or seasons of Game of Thrones. To start with season 6. We also did Westworld seasons 1 and 2. Taboo, for some reason we did that one. And I think we did an episode of He-Man and just more, I don't know, there's a lot of shit on this channel that we could look at. But okay, so Season 8, also we're late. I went on vacation. I had a kind of a late last minute thing and went on a fishing trip with my dad, James.
What a waste of time.
What are you talking about?
I'm kidding.
I'm trying to stay in the will. No, I'm joking. But no, we had a nice time. Got to, murder some innocent fish, turned them into poop. I cooked them and I ate them, which I think is the only way to respect a fish you catch. I killed one on accident. It swallowed the hook too deep, and in the process of pulling out the hook, you kind of got to push the hook a little deeper because I was using this little grabby thing, and then I push it deep, and then I kept pushing it deeper, basically.
Like Jigsaw?
Yeah, it's basically. I wear a Hellraiser mask. Is Jigsaw a bad guy?
Hellraiser, he doesn't have a mask. He has the pins in his head.
Oh, that's his real face?
Yes. The actor is very dedicated.
Yeah.
He's a method actor.
Talk about piercings, my God. Sorry, but thanks for being patient, everybody, with this late coming at you. It's Wednesday night here. James and I are giving up our weekly Wednesday ABC News must-see Wednesday show. We watch TV no, I don't know why I'm trying to make that funny. This is different, though. We had a little time to process this episode.
Yeah,
it was nice to not watch it with subtitles. I watched it up north. I went to Wisconsin is where I was.
So you didn't capture this with subtitles?
No, this I did record. Yeah, the one.
That's right. You watched
I've seen it twice.
Got it.
So I watched it on Sunday night with my dad.
Okay.
And he calls Arya Ariel.
Oh, and, that's not so bad because my mom calls Tyrion tyranny.
Tyranny. My dad called Tyrion like not tiramisu, but that would have been funny. But like something way off. Yeah. And he calls the Dothraki the Mongols.
No, I mean,
isn't that that's not racist?
No.
The Mongols are the guys that were attacking the China Wall.
Yeah. I know that from South Park.
Yeah. We're all educated here.
I mean, I guess maybe there's some inspiration from the Mongols, perhaps, in the creation of the Dothraki.
The horde of horse attackers.
Genghis Khan and all that.
Yeah, it's not like, it would be weird if he was like, the Amazon women. I'm like, what? Yeah. You're way off. But little 27-inch TV up at our lake house.
Nice.
Bad sound. I'm big on sound, and but it was nice not to have to be in shot by shot mode for the finale. Honestly, like it was a little bit kind of nice.
You didn't pause it every like 5 seconds and comment on the shot for your dad?
Yeah. Hey, Dad, what do you think about her tits? Be funny if there was a zombie Tommen, huh?
Let me
his head looks like a pizza. Wait, yeah, I gotta block out the nipples. Although my dad's nipples are out, so I had to hold up a Suck Professor little cube in front of my dad's. James, I have a superfluous fourth nipple.
Okay.
All right, so but now we watched it again here Wednesday. I did, I'm back to work tomorrow, and so I almost fell asleep watching this one now.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since Sundays, but the wound is still fresh.
So. I think it was just more related to my blood sugar currently. Yeah. But speaking of that, let me get a sip of seltzer. So your viewing experience, we're going to get to the screenshots, guys. There's a timer on the screen. You can click ahead if you want. But what was it like for you Sunday then? Were you dreading? Like, were you just like, let's just get this over with?
Yeah,
have you given up hope?
It's basically the best way I can describe it is sort of like fan fatigue. I knew the leaks. I knew they were valid because every single leak had come true entirely. I knew what was going to happen.
So you knew,
and I didn't care.
you knew who was chosen or who would be on the Iron Throne.
I genuinely didn't care. Nothing felt impactful.
Okay.
Nothing hit me. Nothing felt like the appropriate culmination of years of prior buildup. It was sort of like if you'd watched Titanic. And you watch it to the end, and Jack and Rose having their tearful goodbye as she floats away on the door and he sinks down into the abyss. Now imagine that had happened a mile offshore about 10 minutes after they left dock. And they met each other about 8 minutes before. Would it have the same impact?
Probably not. No, you would have missed out on all that stuff where he makes the rich people feel like jerks and stuff. And he's got his cool, charming, poor person charisma.
Not the best example, but still,
I like
you
it.
need time to actually care, and you can't take an arc as. You can't take a shift as radical as this for a certain character and expect us to buy it. But I think that Emilia Clarke sold it as best as she could.
Sure.
So I don't blame her for that. But
the acting was good. The writing is the flaw, not the acting.
Yeah, everything was just so good. I hate how they treated Daenerys. I hate how they treated Grey Worm. I hate how they treated Jon.
It's almost like they made everybody as simplistic as the two dumbasses that wrote it. Not once George R. R. Martin stepped out.
And I hate how they did Tyrion. Tyrion is supposed to be this clever, razor-wit guy who, time and time again in the last 2 seasons, has just been wrong.
Well, yeah, that. I get you there. But being wrong is part of being clever. Just ask me.
Yeah.
See? I'm right about that.
It's when it was over, I was okay with it in the sense that I knew that this was the only way it could wrap up based on the path that had been set for it up until the last episode. It's like, well, it couldn't have gone any other way. And I knew how it was going to go to begin with, so it's like, okay, it is what it is. Now I've seen it play out.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Yeah, they just sort of... I don't know. It's like this was a 4th dimension show, and then just made it 2 dimension. You know what I mean? Like they just simplified everybody into sort of base characters with base motivations.
Yeah,
and nothing. They didn't capture that kind of I don't know how to describe it, but they lost that je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
Je ne sais, why don't you write a better goddamn show?
I've seen so many representations online of how people interpret this. The most famous one that I've seen that's been posted kind of around is this sort of, it's a drawing of a horse. Have you seen this one?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so it's very intricate through season 1, 2, 3, and 4, but as you get further towards the end, it turns more and more into like a very toddler-esque, childish drawing.
Sort of like time zones across the horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the final one is like just the worst.
Yeah, and then there's another one where it shows someone like navigating a maze, and it shows like season 1 going around corners and weaving around all the way through like season 5, season 6, season 7 is like a straight line that turns maybe once or twice, and season 8 is basically jumping through walls straight to the center. It's like It's like, okay, we know you want to go get your Star Wars money. We get it.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's hard to finish a sketch. It's hard to wrap up. It's hard to hit the end just the way in a way that pleases everybody.
But you don't.
It's
do
not
it
possible.
Like, you don't do it like you're cramming. It's like,
No,
it's
I
a
agree.
midnight deadline. I'm cramming it. Let's just end it all right now.
It's more like they just had no doubt, like no self-doubt about they just weren't as talented as George R. R. Martin. I mean, it's kind of obvious to me.
And
like it sort of took on the quality of like a decent low-budget Netflix movie as opposed to like a really high.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Top AAA, top shelf, highfalutin, haute couture. I don't think that's the right word.
The frustrating thing is, though, is that the paths that they chose aren't necessarily bad paths. They're not the paths I wanted, but they didn't have to be as bad as they were had there been ample enough time to really ease us into it and to build a bridge to that point instead of just jumping from A to Z to get there.
Yeah.
The transition wasn't there.
Yeah. We deserved a fancy dessert, not vanilla ice cream for dinner. I mean, for dessert. You know what I mean? The finish wasn't as good as the beginning. But I did enjoy much of the season. There was plenty to like.
And it would have been,
There's some good action sequences.
D&D would have had an out had they said, we had to do what we had to do. We had limited resources. HBO wanted us to wrap the thing up. No, the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You were given as many resources as you wanted and offered a massive extension to tell it the way it was supposed to be told.
Right.
So
yeah, the kind of plot maneuver, everything that happened in the last season should have been 2 seasons at least.
It's sort of like
it was all just forced into 6.
It's almost like you had a class project due or something.
Okay.
And
does this involve Leonardo DiCaprio drowning?
Not this one, but I could try and bring it back there.
Do you think he died from freezing or drowning?
Probably. I don't know.
Gotta check her journal.
But imagine that you are a young lady and you are going to the prom. Let's do it this way instead of everything.
Imagine that.
And your mom is making you the best prom dress ever.
This is my fantasy come true.
And she's like she's a professional, so she knows what she's doing. She has years of experience, and she's making you this wonderful thing.
Big puffy shoulders.
Yep. Yes. And all of a sudden, she's like 70% of the way done, and then she trips and twists her ankle, and she has to be rushed to the emergency room.
Yeah.
But the prom is tomorrow morning, and your dad's there. And he's like, well, don't worry, daughter, I'll finish it. And the next thing you know, you're wearing like cardboard armor with a dress poking out the bottom to the prom.
Yeah, and it doesn't even match the camouflage.
Right. That's what it's like somebody entirely different took over, even though it wasn't someone entirely different. It was D&D all along.
Right.
But I guess when George R.R. Martin basically said, I'm out, source material's done, it's sort of like it went to cardboard mode.
It did. Cardboard mode is a good way to describe that. Yeah. It went to dopey dad who means well. He tried. And a lot of dads wouldn't even bother finishing the dress. They'd probably just slap some duct tape on it, put her in a Sebring and tell her to don't get pregnant.
Yeah, and I hate saying all this because even though the finale was Sunday and it's only 3 days after, that horse is so dead right now. There are flies crawling out of his nose.
Oh, in the drawing?
No, everybody knows this. Beating a dead horse, I mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree. Beat living horses. I mean, come on, it's obvious.
What about the horse Arya rode that just disappeared? It's like, don't care about that horse anymore.
Yeah, the magic horse. That
the magic
took her out.
Deus Ex Machina horse.
Yeah, Deus Ex. Nay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sure we'll have a lot more thoughts to share as we get through these what is screenshots.
Yes.
So thanks for liking and bending the knee, everybody. Feel free to like and straighten the knee.
If you're from the north, you can straighten the knee.
If you're from the north, go ahead and straighten the knee. I mean, we're not going to keep the channel running as consistently as if we cared about it. I might come back with some new stumps. We might do a shot by shot every once in a while. I think
when time permits.
We're always watching movies and playing video games and have plenty of shit to say. Sometimes we watch a movie together. Not that we see every movie together, but. Or we watch a movie here and we say funny stuff to each other, and I think to myself, God, if only we had a YouTube channel, we could put our dumb comments on it and see if we just love hearing from everybody too, and the tweets and the comments are also nice, and it's just sorry for letting you all down so much. Honestly, I feel like this feels like I tried to make my daughter a dress, and and she's really excited, and then I died of cancer on prom night at prom.
He fell into the punch bowl.
I saw her get crowned the queen of prom, and then I got cancer and I fell into the punch bowl, and
I don't think cancer takes root that quickly.
The punch bowl was spiked with vodka, and I died drunk, swearing, saying racial words for some reason. I'm not sure why that would happen. I don't think that's a symptom of cancer. That's what. Anyway, all right. Well, let's get to this. Let's get to the screenshots.
I was just trying to think of a way to make that worse.
I can make it worse. All right, here we go. Okay, opening. There's the thing. What the fuck is this? A gyroscope with the sun? Is this supposed to be like some kind of celestial sphere thing? I never even really thought much about it.
I don't think now is the time to figure that one out.
Yeah, all right, fine.
We've had a long time to think about that one.
Okay. I did take a few of the opening sequence. This is the broken King's Landing walls and stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of neat. We get to see all that stuff there.
And the devastation of the town.
Yeah, the town's all messed up. I think there's a couple of those. This is the gate, obviously. It's kind of tough to see there, but yeah, some of the town is all whacked out.
Someone actually did a really great Photoshop of a Lego set of King's Landing, which is a big pile of bricks on the cover of
it. Oh, really?
It was awesome.
That's funny. I think there were some. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So there's the dragons in the basement.
But that kind of bothers me though, because that's the area where Jaime and Cersei were supposed to go down through this area.
They should be all destroyed.
Yeah, it should be destroyed, and the collapse that allegedly killed them seemed to encompass. You could see it coming down as like a domino chain effect from behind them, and it was basically the entirety of the ceiling was caving in.
But we'll see, pretty soon that when Tyrion goes down there, one of the dragon's skulls is still intact, or maybe even two. But anyway, I agree. There should be some calamities in here, and there should be like a golden hand in here, and maybe Cersei, or maybe a little baby crawling around going, and the Lannister fetus.
I don't think she was that far along.
Yeah, you're right.
If it was truly Euron's baby, and who can swim like 9 miles in the span of 5 minutes,
holding a triple-sided axe.
Yeah.
All right, so there's the Iron Throne. Of course, this is an important symbolic item for us all to appreciate. So anyway, this is a moment for it's over.
Well, the Iron Throne there's something cool about it in this episode is that in George R. R. Martin's mind, he has pointed to certain illustrations of the Iron Throne the way it should be based on the books, and it is nothing like that. It is this towering, massive thing with like 20 steps leading up to it, reaching like 40 feet in the sky.
Oh, really? Okay.
And when Daenerys finally sees it, she goes, smaller than I imagined.
Is that in the books?
Well, no, in the show. I mean, she looks at it and says, you know, that our fathers told us that this was forged from 1,000 swords of the
swords.
And it's like, it doesn't really look like much.
Oh,
so
okay.
I kind of like that callback.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. I read the books. I don't remember anything. So, all right, there it is, Game of Thrones. Look, they got 3 lines. That's kind of nice. What is this, Charlie Sheen's Coke habit? All right, so Tyrion's walking down.
That's Tyrone.
Tyrone? What?
No.
Tyrion.
Why not get it wrong now?
Yeah, get it wrong now, yeah. What does your mom call him, tyranny?
Tyranny, yes. It's like, no, he kind of works for tyranny, but he is Tyrion.
Okay. All right, so Tyranny's walking. He's taking it all in. This is his regret walk. This is his walk of, oh boy, a walk of shame. He is just like, man, I could go for a walk of shame nowadays. The world is all destroyed. Little girl's dead. His plan to try to stop it with the bells did not work. He's realizing that he's been supporting an enormous, horrible war criminal, tyrant, monster, and we're seeing it up close. He walks past this guy here, all messed up, who I thought looked like the... there's a Star Trek or Stargate SG-1 episode. Anyway, that's so he walks right by this poor fella. Boy, he must be stinging there.
He's the stretchy guy from Street Fighter.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking something.
Zalom. I can't say his name.
It's okay. We'll fix that in post. So man,
but it's basically abject.
Guy's looking for Neosporin here.
Yeah, this is this horrific.
Yeah, he's getting to survey the damage a bit. That's, by the way, this shot. It's Jon Snow checking him out too, going, oh. Boy, it looks like it hurts.
I didn't want it.
Yeah, I didn't want it. There's a guy, like a knight, I think, somebody kind of upset, emotional, overwhelmed, which is totally understandable. I mean, I get overwhelmed watching puppies have fun on Instagram.
But the whole city is destroyed, and he saw it happen from a distance, but he's never seen it up front. You can see the true extent of what Dragonfire
even
can do.
turned into skeletons.
Right, these are
science classroom skeletons.
Yeah, Dragonfire is not to be trifled with. Call back to last episode, the 2 people that Arya tried to save.
Yeah, the little girl with the horse thing. Even this is like kind of lazy. Like, oh well, let's just bring back the item that Shireen loved and make it pull everybody's heartstrings with his fucking horse.
But that's the thing. That had meaning to Arya. That doesn't necessarily have the same meaning to Tyrion.
It's just the audience. Yeah, it's lazy writing.
It is.
Yeah,
it kind of is.
Yeah, I get what they're going for, but do a different animal. A giraffe.
Yeah.
How about a dog? I don't know, a bear. Anyway. So there's Tyrion, Jon Snow comes up. They're all just, so I had to change the framing of the recording because okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's going to be fixed a little bit.
So Tyrion basically wants to go off on his own.
Yeah, and Jon's offering to send some guys because Jon knows Tyrion's in what we like to call up S-word creek without a P word.
Right. I mean, he definitely feels partially responsible for this. He was backing Daenerys, and he found out that the person he was backing, that he thought was the savior, that he thought was the good person, is actually a monster.
Yeah. Yeah. And the dragon burned off this guy's hair.
Yeah.
Ow!
So he wants to go off alone, and he's basically saying, it's not safe? What do you mean it's not safe? There's no one left alive to harm me.
Well, I got the sense Jon knew he was going to talk to Dany, but you're right, maybe he just is going into the city or something. But anyway, not that Jon's men would have protected him from Dany, what he's going to do, send his men to... Yeah, that's okay.
There's a little callback from last episode, the bells.
Yeah, they showed the bell. This is just the failure of Tyrion's plan. He has to walk past the literal representation of his... Not even representation. Just his failed plan here. A broken bell. America understands.
Broken man next to a broken bell.
That's right. The Liberty Bell. No more. It will ring no more. I don't know what. So there's a good shot of the big red keep. There were some really good visuals in this show.
Yeah, I mean the directing and cinematography, top notch. It's it's amazing.
Yeah,
which is so terrible. It's sort of like a bad children's play being perfectly acted, perfectly directed, perfectly shot, but just with a ridiculously bad story.
Yeah. Yeah, not like all those other children's plays that have good stories. So Grey Worm is still in beast mode, this fucking nutcase. He is murdering prisoners. He's got a row of Lannisters. I know, but he's in the act of doing it, pretty much. I mean, got him on their knees. He's got his spear guys back there. Jon interrupts him and it's like, it's over. What are you doing? And even Davos pleads with him a little bit. And he's like, how much more defeated you? I mean, they're done. They're on their knees. They're dead. He goes, they're breathing. They're alive. That's how he goes, we won. What are you doing? And So this is the orders that he says. You kill all who follow Cersei Lannister. So yeah.
Well, I mean, she's not really around anymore, so technically they don't follow her.
Yeah. In fact,
Jon should have made that point.
That's a good point. He could have out-logicked him. If he does kill him, they'll either follow her to heaven or wherever Cersei went. Do you think she went to heaven or hell? I like to think there's just different heavens. There's like worm heaven, cat heaven, plastic bottle heaven. So anyway, because Jon grabs his what's his face, Grey Worm. All the guys have to get out their weapons and point them at each other because they're gonna have a big fight. Would be pretty messy probably.
Right, because this basically shows that there's still a disconnect, even though they're on the same side. Technically, Daenerys and Jon's armies, they're still at odds at one another, and we've seen this throughout other episodes where Jon tries to move Rhaegal to his embattlement on the map. His guys, Grey Worm comes and rips it back. They may be allies, quote unquote, but they are not friends. Not friends.
Jon is sort of realizing that. A lot of the first half of this is Jon sort of reconciling his heart with his heart. Meaning, like, he's really conflicted. There's a lot going on there, and he's got to make a decision, basically. So Grey Worm is, looking at, or Jon lets him. All right, fine. Don't
Well, he basically says he's going to go talk to the queen, but that doesn't stop him from doing what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's not going to wait for him to get back, and so he just starts killing these guys. And I'm like, God, dude, just what are you killing him? Just put him in jail.
This is why I say I hate what they've done to Grey Worm. This is not. Yeah. Yes, Grey Worm lost someone incredibly important to him, the first person that made him feel like a human being, but
right.
Yeah, and yes, it's a heck of a lot to lose, but does it turn you into a monster to that degree? I have a hard time buying it.
Kinda. I have a hard time buying it too, but it's like he just following orders. He's meant to follow orders, but he seems to be reveling in it a little bit, which is unnerving.
And the thing, it was Cersei. These are Cersei's Lannister troops.
Right. Yeah.
Cersei was the one who did it right in front of his face, so okay, maybe he sees them as a representation of her and he's taking out his rage.
Yeah.
It still would have helped me a lot more to have it more drawn out.
It would, and it also shows the lack of honor in this. Not that I know what the honor of war is supposed to be, but generally you don't kill prisoners once they've submitted and they're now no longer a threat. You're not supposed to do that. But that's a sign of tyrants, though.
Yeah, you can be a wounded, broken person and still not turn into a criminal.
Yeah. Not that I expected Grey Worm to have some big change of heart and turn into Urkel or something like that. All right, so...
And he would be Stefan.
Stefan, is that an Urkel?
Well, when Steve Urkel goes into his magic machine, he comes out as the suave Stefan.
Jaleel White's like a cool dude. He's like a handsome, cool guy, but he has this Urkel thing following.
Yeah, he basically is himself when he's Stefan.
Yeah.
Which is just him without glasses.
Yeah, right, pretty much. All right, so anyway, Tyrion, this is the map room, right, with the map on the floor, and he walks in with the. I thought this was ash when I was first watching it, but it's really snow, right? Because we get snow covering stuff up here.
Well, I know.
Or is it ash? Maybe it is, but the ash would.
I think it's mostly ash because Well,
at this point it looks like ash, but when the dragon wakes up...
Yeah, the dragon definitely is under snow. There is some snow going on here, which is another criticism I have of this whole thing. So many years of winter is coming, and yet it never really did. It's kind of over already.
Yes, there's something later on, very much later on, that I hope I'll remember to say. Yeah. Not that it's a spoiler, it's just...
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so Tyrion, this is a small council table. He sees everything's a wreck. He was looking around. It's all a big mess. He picks up this scepter.
It's out of mana.
It's out of mana. He's got to go find the magic pond and restore it with the fairy lady who can give him a kiss and turn him into a mana guy.
So what is he doing? Where is he going? Obviously, he's going
following the path that he told Jaime to take.
Yes, which oddly enough, he told Jaime to take that path to get out, yet he didn't tell his own troops to use that path to get in to kill Cersei earlier. So
that's true. Yeah,
not so clever, Tyrion.
Not so clever. This camera shot's from the skull here. This is why I was talking about one of the dragon skulls. But you'll see another shot of the skulls too, or at least there is. No, we didn't get it. I didn't get it. Anyway, so there's some intact or somewhat intact skulls in the basement still. So anyway, he comes upon this pile, and we have a little camera movement right up into the hand, and we see the.
That's like a real "Where's Waldo" moment. Good on you, Tyrion.
Yeah, I know. I think he knew which side of the room to kind of investigate.
He's also closer to the ground, so he can see it more easily.
That's true. You should start a gold mining company. I think there's just fingernails on the thing. For some reason, it's funny.
When you're that rich and you can afford to have a golden hand, you might as well gloss it up.
Poor people get golden hands with no fingernails. They just look like hot dogs.
Or just really long fingernails.
Yeah.
He's like, that looks good.
So
No, this is actually a really horribly sad scene, a really hard one for...
yeah, it's his siblings. It's both, even though he's had complicated relationships.
Yeah, as much as he hated Cersei and knew she was a monster, he still loved her.
90% of these tears are for Jaime.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah, but
a little bit for... I mean, it's just agonizing, because now also he's the leader of the Lannisters. Now he's the last remaining one.
I mean, I think there's probably still other Lannisters out there that weren't in King's Landing.
There might be, but he's still got the claim. I mean, he's the...
Yeah, he's still the most prominent one,
he's the Samwell of Hornhill. So anyway, yeah, real sad. We get to death here. I was wondering, they did maybe, like, what if the hand detached and they were, like, still alive and then they just die. They look at him and they die.
Yeah, so the thing about this is that the way and I don't think they got a shot of the whole room, but as he approached this area, it showed many spots in the underground area that weren't covered with bricks, that weren't fallen in, which is a contradictory shot to what we saw during the collapse. It was a domino effect. It was coming straight down the hallway at them. And yet you look at this and it's like, really? So if they'd been standing 20 feet to the right or the left, they wouldn't have been hit?
Yeah.
I mean, they had no way of knowing where it was going to fall, but still, it's like, that's...
But I hear you. Once the dust starts flying around and the cloud sort of takes over the camera and like fills it all, you don't really know what's falling and what's not. And it makes sense that it would be a partial collapse. But you're right. They could have survived this if they were in a different spot. Like, they just stood in the middle of the room. Like, go under one of the arches.
But here's the thing.
Like, up against the wall.
Did he really need to find their bodies like this? I mean, couldn't the fact that the boat was still there, docked outside, mean that they never got out? Couldn't that be what he saw? Did he really need to see something that they couldn't fully explain adequately, which ends up with this?
I think this is okay. I mean, I hear you. This
just seemed a little hokey.
In a way, I suppose. I think they needed to show them dead because they didn't show them die. They showed them like collapse with the frame and like, I mean, not by frame and camera frame. Like, because a lot of shows will do that where it looks like they're dying, but then turns out they're just beat up or they're bruised or something. So I think I was actually kind of okay with seeing confirmation that they were dead. Yeah, I don't know. And it would have been nice if he like picked up his hand and like used it to wipe the tears.
I mean, I would have
heavier than it looks.
I would have at least taken the hand, you know.
Yeah, recycle it, pawn it off. Not recycle it. So, yeah. So cut to Arya. She's wandering through the rubble and looking at all the chaos, and she sees her brother walking through the Dothraki horde outside the gate or whatever, wherever they are.
Who were all resurrected from the dead by Melisandre
There
after the initial charge in episode 3, because, you know...
It seemed like they all got... Like, I know some of them ran away from that fight, but it didn't look like this many. I thought they were down to like 10%.
I thought they were completely wiped out after that initial charge,
Yeah.
but I guess not. And I also thought, after all the encounters and the battles that the Unsullied had, that they were at their lowest amount, which they should be at this point at their lowest rank, but apparently they've like quadrupled.
They're very handsome fellas. Maybe they breed.
They're like gremlins. Maybe they got wet after midnight or something.
Right.
I don't
Someone
know.
fed them. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good movie. They had to remake The Gremlins.
Oh, God, no.
All right, so Jon walks through these horses. But one thing, you got to be careful with horses, man. They don't like being surprised from behind.
Well, you know that from Red Dead Redemption. You try and get in the saddlebags, they will kick you.
Well, yeah, if you try to steal from their saddlebags. But, like, I worked with horses when I was 13 at a barn, and, like, I didn't get kicked. A lady I worked with got kicked. But you got to just, like, there's a proper way. Anyway, I'm just saying that, like, the actors, if these are real horses, I assume they are, take some risks with this. Like, what if a horse, because horses, they can be a little jumpy, especially when they're kind of in amplified mode, you know.
The horses know he doesn't want it, though.
That's true. That's a good point. And that he is can't be murdered or something. Or
yes. And
so some of the better visuals of this whole episode I thought were in this next sequence.
Yeah, the one people have been universally saying is the greatest shot in the whole series is coming up right now, but it's like...
Yeah, I actually didn't... That's my least favorite part.
Yeah, I didn't like that so much either, but I did want... It's like, who in the world was in charge of carrying that freaking banner? I mean, my God.
Up here?
Look at that thing.
Yeah, that's a big one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they never showed like 4 guys with a big old carpet rolled up.
Yeah, I mean, that is bigger than like a boat's, like a sail or something. That is significant.
Huge. It's a big one. Yeah, that's a big.
And how'd they get it up there? It's like, well, I guess there's a lot of them and they're strong guys. So
yeah, they got ropes and stuff. I mean, yeah, a lot of that stuff they never show, like the rebuilding or just like most of these worlds should just be like people toiling away in the bricks and the rubble. And so Jon walks up. He's looking very sullen. Not a lot, you know, he's like, oh, crap. It's like his girlfriend is just like got into a fight at the mall, and now you got to go like maybe get beat up at the mall too. You know, it's like weird. So there's Grey Worm standing up at the top, the rubble. Drogon comes flying over. I think we get a couple. Yeah, there he is. All the Dothraki cheer real excited. Look, there's his tail.
So you missed the shot where... Oh, no, you didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, there's...
Not yet.
Yeah. I think we're right. So Drogon comes over like a F-22 at a football game, helping to recruit cannon fodder for the wars that are unnecessary. Like this is the NFL. So here's the shot. I did hit this screenshot a bunch, right? This is obviously what you're talking about. So the camera travels up the stairs. Dany's walking forward, and you kind of are surprised by the wings emerging from her as if they're attached to her body herself.
But it's almost as though she's like a demon.
Yeah, like she's the dragon itself. I found this too on the nose, too like dumb.
It was a cool
this
shot.
Is the first. Like the thing about creativity is don't necessarily. I mean, if you have a great instinct or whatever, but this seems like their first idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just this of the whole sequence I found to be the least interesting.
It was supposed to be a powerful moment for her, but I kind of rolled my eyes at it.
Yeah, I rolled my eyes too. Yeah, I totally did. And I went...
But like the red and the black colors and all the Dothraki standing in unison and her up there where she's about to give this big speech.
Yeah.
It has a huge... I mean...
The shot here...
I mean, these guys going off to do Star Wars, I mean, this is the Imperial Army. I mean, this is exactly how it felt. It's like, holy crap, these have been the bad guys all along.
Right. The separation between the armies too, not that they usually mix or something, but I thought that one thing that jumped out in my brain was ice and fire. Ice is order. Ice is low entropy or high entropy. Like the Unsullied represent order. They don't move. They follow orders. They stand still. They're very structured. They're very rigid. The Dothraki are like fire when the molecules are all activated by excess energy and they're just flipping around. I'm just saying this is
from a biology standpoint. Yeah, I mean
from a physics
very
type
valid.
of thing. Yeah,
but really,
like
the
what
whole
heat is just is a molecule having more energy than
I see what you're doing. But really, what George R. R. Martin intended for ice and fire to mean was that ice was the water bottle and fire was the coffee cup.
Yeah. Wait. What? Water.
The water bottles.
Water bottles. Okay. No, I know that. I'm not saying I think this is George R. R. Martin's full intention about what he means by ice and fire.
I don't think he means that at all. But I now that I think about it, I love that comparison.
Yeah, the Dothraki are the super active molecules of heat, and the Unsullied are
because when something freezes, its molecules become tightly packed.
Yeah, that's why they form crystals.
Yeah,
like that's why water becomes crystal, and it's a weird structure because it lines up.
But really, it's like Starks or ice, Targaryens or fire. That's kind of
essentially opposing forces, opposites attract. Paula Abdul, MC Scat Cat. You know what I'm saying? So
my favorite cassettes.
Mm-hmm, that great cassette. So there's
somebody even did take shots of the Unsullied and zoomed in to show that some of them were a little bit excited for the final episode, which proves that they're not really Unsullied. Zooming in on certain parts.
Why? Because you could see their junk.
Yeah,
in some of them.
You could.
Not like they have boners. You mean?
Well, one guy, the one shot I saw, kind of looked like he might have been a little bit.
Some
too
people
excited.
have various packages that reveal themselves in the bulge. We all have that a little bit, I suppose. Mine's tiny. So yeah, there they go. But she gives a speech here, and maybe they have fake ones. Make this kind of like feel normal for a change.
To me, this speech was hilarious because it felt to me like a dog listening to humans. So John didn't get subtitles. All he was hearing was Vakatahaya, Winterfell, Hagablaga, Dorne. Right. And he was like, "Oh my God, she mentioned Winterfell."
Yeah. That's funny. Well, it's symbolic. Well, maybe not symbolic is the right word, but the fact that she gives her first speech in a foreign language. This is part of the kind of...
John has seen her in a way he has never seen her.
Right. Yeah, but just like there's no people here. This is her army. She's talking to her own army. It's not like she's being greeted by a grateful population because she killed them all.
Yeah.
So she's only standing there talking to her own weapons, her own troops in a foreign language on a city she just destroyed. All of that is indicative of someone who does not belong here, in my opinion.
But here's something that maybe people.
I'm not a big anti-foreign guy, by the way. Yeah. My politics, I'm not at all. But in the context of this story, they don't belong here.
But the thing I want to know, and I could watch this 1,000 times and not be able to answer this for myself.
All right.
Is she speaking Dothraki and High Valyrian? One or the other, or a combination of both? Because it's my understanding that the Dothraki do not speak High Valyrian, and the Unsullied do not speak Dothraki.
That's a good
So
point.
is she speaking independently to them and switching languages, or do they just goof up and use one or the other? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
You have all used Duolingo.
Yes.
Get the latest app. Lots of good updates. Makes it a little easier to get through. Fix bugs and fixes. Yes, Duolingo, language app for anybody who's never heard of it. This is stuff she's referring to specifically about how different the Westeros culture and society is that she
Right.
kind of told them about. That's
So
why it's like
the reason I think she's speaking Dothraki, because everything that she's
Yeah.
talking about right here are things that she asked the Dothraki to do for her.
Yeah. And then Drogon comes by and he translates it. You know, he's like the sign language interpreter on the side. Just like, roar, for all the dragons in the audience.
He's doing the High Valyrian translation as well, yeah.
Yeah. This is a cool shot, though. I did like that Drogon kind of like
Because
weighs in.
when she says Dracarys, I mean, that's High Valyrian, right? And dragons are supposed to be like way more intelligent than humans. I've heard from people.
More than humans or more than dogs?
I've heard more than humans, and there's something that happens in this episode that kind of speaks to that.
Well, that explains why Sean Connery is their voice.
Yes.
Or John Rhys Davies. By the way, movies do this all the time. How the hell can they hear her?
I was
Is this
thinking,
thing really? It's
I know.
like some amphitheaters are built for really great projection, and maybe this is the case. I don't know the acoustics.
Thing. And the reason I was thinking the same thing was because not only is she talking from up there, but the Dothraki are not being quiet.
Yeah, they're not a quiet bunch. You would be really annoyed to be at a concert with them.
Yeah,
in the
and
back.
yeah,
And
they're the
yelling,
kind of guys who'd have their cell phones on.
hooting and hollering. Yeah.
You want a concert of Unsullied.
Yes, exactly. If I'm gonna go see James Taylor, I want Unsullied.
I was about to say exactly the same things. Like the kind of concert I would go to would be a James Taylor concert.
Oh, really?
I was going to say that.
Do you want to go to James Taylor
I
concert?
love James Taylor.
All right. Well, now I know what I'm
I've
getting.
gone
in
to Carolina in my mind.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go, James. We'll do some
I
edibles.
imagine
We'll get all
it would-
fucked up.
Probably
we'll go see
not
James
a mosh
Taylor.
pit of the James Taylor concert. Just saying.
No. Not since the great mosh pit disaster of '94, when 14 people
He's
were
seen
killed.
fire and he's seen rain.
He's
Oh my
also
God, ice and fire. James Taylor. He's the real king.
James R. Taylor is his full name.
Yes.
So, Dothraki guys are all going nuts. They all got boners. The horses have boners. Everybody's horny. Except
But John doesn't want it.
Except for these two wolves about to make out.
Yeah, John has like 3 lines this whole episode. What are his lines? And I've been saying this before. People online were like making memes
In
about
this
it
episode?
because it's so obvious. No, he's just like, I love you. You're my queen. I don't want it.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get girls. You don't
like,
talk too. That's why I don't get girls. I talk too much. I'm
This
really
is
annoying.
not Jon. This is cardboard Jon Snow.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they didn't give him any kind of real good. They saved their attempts at writing for like Davos.
Yeah,
But not Davos. For,
They took his
Tyrion.
arc from him. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say ask me like 2 or 3 seasons ago which guy had it worse. Theon lost his wing. I say losing your arc is way worse than losing your wing.
They cut off my arc.
I know, and gave it to Arya. Poor John.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't disagree. Although I will say there was a petition, like 500,000 people or something.
It's over 1 million.
Over 1 million. That is bullshit.
Well, no, okay.
Fuck off. Fuck off with trying to tell. Like, we can criticize these guys for doing a bad job with finishing this story, but it is their show.
No, you're
They
missing
get to
the point,
They
though,
get
because-
to screw. Oh, hang on. Let me just finish this thought. They get to screw it up. I know Sansa. What's her name? The actress. She came out and said that. Yeah, like basically what I'm saying. Like don't do that. It's ridiculous. I don't know her direct quote, but I don't agree with the audience demanding it be redone. I think that's nonsense.
The entirety of the petition, the entire point of it was not to have them redo it. And I think even when they posted the petition, this is on the site that says this is not truly intended to have them redo it.
Oh, I'm speaking from ignorance.
It is done only to embarrass D&D. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. All right. Then I'll temper my comments slightly, but I was speaking from ignorance about that because I did not go look at it. I only saw the headlines and I misinterpreted, and that's why we're all confused these days. All right, so you're the bravest of men. Oh, yeah, she rewards him with being in charge of more war. You'll make her the queen's master of war. That's how I do Valyrian.
And John's like, what about me?
Yeah.
I love to fight.
I want to be the master of something. Can I be the master of love?
Oh, actually, he has no idea what she does. She could have just said, you get biscuits and gravy? And he's like,
Like maybe they've been laying in bed and she teaches him a little bit.
Probably not.
Yoko loco. Yoko loco. Yoko loco
It's like
loco.
the 13th Warrior.
Yoko loco loco.
He just picks it up over time.
Yeah, and then that scene in 13 Warrior around the fire, and
Yeah,
they all switch to English.
Yeah.
That's how they get around having
Because
to be
it's
the
sort of like
voices.
having you as the audience. You are there because suddenly
Yeah.
you start to understand by virtue of them speaking English. I liked how they did that.
Well, and also, just like Star Trek, this is her universal translator.
Yeah.
Like, my universal translator must be malfunctioning.
Captain's log started.
Captain's log. Stargate, whole bunch of numbers.
Stargate.
Stargate. I've been watching Stargate lately. I love that show. Yeah. I keep talking about it. It gets good. Season 3,
okay.
4, 5.
So first she was talking to the Dothraki. Now she's talking to the Unsullied. That's what I want to know. Does she switch to Unsullied High Valyrian at this point?
Probably.
Yeah.
You freed the people of King. Yeah. You had your wieners cut off. I mean, as a kid, I can imagine.
Weren't they forced to kill a baby to become an Unsullied as well?
Like 1 out of 10 dies, and then they have to kill a baby in front of some. Yeah, it's like these guys all are. I mean, not that they chose. They were slaves. They were forced as children, but. My God.
So like she's just doing
what? Yeah.
Her mouth.
We'll not let on her Spears. She's talking about Britney Spears. She's a Britney Spears CD. They're gonna watch Crossroads in the dormitorium later.
Seems like artichoke spears. What do they call those things?
Artichoke spears. No, asparagus.
Asparagus. Yeah, I don't do vegetables. I don't know. I just know that these green things that people put in their mouths and it freaks me out.
When James dies at the age of 44, it'll be lack of vegetables.
No. I think I'm going to live longer than anyone because if you look at all the sick days taken in my entire department at work, people have like on average like they use like 10, 15, 20 a year.
Yeah. I
have averaged between 0 and 1 a year.
Oh my God. Well, you go in when you're sick though. Not that you get sick.
Not really. No, I just.
Do you take all your vacation days? You should. You gotta take those vacation days.
I'm going to try and make a point to do that this year.
Yes, do it. You earn that. You're just giving away money to a billions and billions of dollar corporation. Take that fucking money you earn. It's called you have rights. Fight the power.
Only if Daenerys says it. Say it in High Valyrian and I might listen.
But they force you. Like it's hard to take a day off
because you're basically shooting yourself in the foot.
Too much work. Yeah, which is also bullshit. But okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to micromanage your office life. So anyway,
that's the one line he understood.
She's practicing about yeah.
He should have perked up and been like a dog, like ooh.
Yeah, like New York. Like, oh, I heard that part.
But it's like she's speaking up there passionately and like
about liberating people all over the world. She's like, but this is very scary for any country that thinks it's going to do wars of aggression and then will be liberating the people. Like some country that we know, love, and live in, it's fucking not okay to couch your aggression in terms of liberating people.
Right. I think the significance, though, of her saying this and it cutting to Jon at that very moment is that he doesn't understand what she's saying, but he can feel the intent behind it. It's a victory war speech. That much is obvious. And he hears the word Winterfell, and he hears the word Dorne.
Yeah.
He can put 2 and 2 together. She's not content until she controls everything from Winterfell to Dorne, from Lannisport to Qarth.
Right.
He knows, and she has already been told by Sansa, that the North will not bend the knee to Queen Daenerys.
Right.
So the very fact that she did what she did in Queen's Landing, and now she's talking about Winterfell again, that's got to put fear in him.
Yeah. And then she names women, men, children, everybody. She just wants to have everybody
burn them all.
I know. It's like, I mean, look at the destruction here. This was just completely devastated here, and you're right. I wasn't thinking about that he doesn't understand her while he's watching her. So the wheel that she's trying to break is what wheel that they were alive? I mean, come on, back off, lady.
Yeah, I think the wheel is basically what they described later on in the episode to be rule by virtue of progeny.
They get to that point later.
Yeah, but it's all part of the status quo, the existing power system is what she's referring to.
I get it. And I'm all for upending existing power structures. Power structures in this world have gone all off fucking kilter. And they have been for a very long time, not just recent politics, but it's been really screwed up for a long time. And we should break this wheel together, but not by just murdering people with flames from a flaming flying thing. Arya's watching it going, it was bullshit.
She's like, I really need subtitles.
Yeah, I wish I had subtitles.
Where's my horse?
But they don't need to hear. I mean, with people just cut to the horse looking at her too, going. She's, but she's in tune with her soldiers here. They're starting hitting their things down on the ground, and these guys are swinging around their half moons because they're big. What's that cereal with the Lucky Charms? Big Lucky Charms fans.
You had to say it as soon as Tyrion shows up. I mean, really.
Come on.
I know you didn't mean that.
Come on, be nice. Drogon roars.
So Tyrion approaches and he's standing next to her, but he's not doing it because he stands by her. He's doing it to tell her something else. But she knows he's there, and she basically says down to him, I know what you did.
He chooses this deliberately because he wants to do it publicly.
Right. He's essentially turning himself in at this point. He could have left. He didn't have to show up there. He knew she was going to, imprison him for this or kill him outright, and he accepted that.
But he could have also done this like outside this ramp where they're standing. Rampart? That's not the right word. At the top of the stairs.
Yeah, but I think he wanted everyone to know that I do not stand with you. What you did was monstrous.
Absolutely.
This is not what I support.
Yeah, and you slaughtered a city, and she gives him a look like, how dare you? It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, we built this town on rock and roll. We built this city.
To rock and roll. They both end with rock and roll?
No, I said it wrong the first time. I said town, I meant city.
Oh, all right. I wouldn't know. I don't understand lyrics. So he rips off his hand thing, and he should have ow, ooh, sharp, ooh. But he throws it, and ting ting, look, there it is, ting 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 ting. Like, down it goes like a when you throw your brother's Nintendo cartridge off the top balcony, and she goes, take him. She doesn't really say anything. She just says take him in Valyrian, take him, take him. And so he's
so they don't apprehend him. He walks with them. So
right. What's he gonna do? Run? I mean, come on. He'd trip down the stairs.
Can you imagine if he throws it down? Go, whoa! What do you think you do? Whoa! I love that. See him running between the Unsullied.
But the two Unsullied guys chasing him, when paper starts blowing in the wind and you start bending over, running at it.
Yeah,
that's how they're chasing him. That'd be funny. See, they should have let us do this final episode. But she walks off and John's like, ugh, fuck. Shit. Why did I get on Tinder?
Yeah. Gosh. Who did I sleep with? Who have I gotten in bed with, both politically and literally?
Yeah.
What have I done?
Yeah, what have I done? I didn't know about this. She was hot and cool. She had a cool car. Really ambitious.
And she didn't even look at him. She just walked off on her own.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty cold.
Yeah. But she's sort of sticking to that ceremony, that pomp and ceremony of being a ruler and stuff.
And Jon is not a fan of the fact that she just imprisoned Tyrion. Tyrion is a friend of his.
Yeah, totally. And of course, there goes Grey Worm escorting him too with his slicey knife.
Yeah,
he wants
that's
to
the
chop
last
heads off.
Yeah, that's the last person I would want to see escorting away someone I cared about.
Right. Exactly. You'd want to see him with, like a masseuse.
Yes.
So Arya teleports into the scene.
She says probably the dumbest thing in this entire episode.
I came to kill Cersei, but your queen got to... she says more than that in this scene, but what?
Yeah.
What is the
Maybe she doesn't say it here, but I think she does say it right here.
She's everyone's queen now? Oh, she's who?
She knows
you're the biggest threat. She's your big... you'll always be a threat to her. Right?
Yeah, she's basically telling him, you have to do something about this. You're always going to be a threat to her. But she says, she's a killer. I know a killer when I see one.
I know.
It's like, yeah, she just killed the whole city, you moron. Who couldn't see that?
She says that, and then it cuts to this shot, as if this is what a killer looks like.
Yeah.
Walking away with 4 guys.
Good job, Detective Arya. How did you piece that one together?
That's bad writing. Yeah, I do remember that line being like, what? We all just watched her from the sky.
I know.
Murdered. You just said that.
I know one when I see one.
Definitely a killer.
Yep.
A Hitler guy.
On the fence this morning, but I slept on it. Definitely a killer.
Dangerous. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's a good... I'm glad you remember that.
Wonderful insight.
Yeah. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad writing. But
she's essentially trying to push him in the direction of defying Daenerys.
Yeah, and everybody kind of is basically like, hey, dude, you should. So now Jon goes in and meets with Tyrion and is in his cell. First he asks for wine.
But they take his swords from him so he can't harm the prisoner.
That's right.
Important to remember.
Yeah. You don't want to bring in a weapon. Not that he couldn't find a way to,
beat him with a stool.
Well, yeah, or one of these jugs. You could turn a piece of clay shard.
Tyrion loves jugs.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't love?
What a way to go.
I've been a subscriber since 1974. Yeah, so I got my Jugs points building up. So you see, now my brain's just thinking about Jugs jokes.
Yep.
All right, so... all right.
So we're talking about Varys now.
I betrayed my... Yeah, so he's talking about all the ways he's got it wrong. Varys was... Varys will say, see, I told you. He's like, I should have listened to him.
So he asked Jon, he says, actually, you're the only person in the world that I could ask this of. Is there life after death? Because Jon famously died and came back to life.
Yeah.
And he's like, not really.
Yeah, not really. No, not really. And he goes, Oblivion is the best I could hope for. I'm good with Oblivion. I don't want anything. I don't want anything after this. Whatever's, there won't be anything. How could there be like it was before you were born? That's what it's going to be like after death. There's
incredibly arrogant to think that there must be something.
Yeah.
It's like, how could the universe possibly exist without me?
I have the understanding that my energy will dissipate back into the world, and my molecules or my atoms will remain as atoms, and I will that in that sense I quote unquote will persist forever. That's enough for me. I don't need more than that. By the way, this shit's fucked up here, okay? Although I'm pretty grateful to have the little bit of life I've got, and I think that's the value of life. The meaning of life is the fact that it's oblivion on one side, oblivion on the other, and you get this little spark of this entire fucking crazy universe that'll go on for trillions of years, and we get this tiny little spark of consciousness, and we don't think that's enough? It's amazing. It's absolutely brilliant and beautiful. That's why we should fight for everybody to have good, dignified lives while we have this tiny little bit of existence.
Wouldn't it be funny if there really
Subscribe to my podcast, James.
If there was something like in the afterlife, and really it's like this whole existence is a carnival ride that you wait in line for, and you're like, oh, I want to go next. And then you wake up and you're at the end of the line. You're like, oh, that was weird.
Yeah. Like, did you get a picture of me screaming?
Yeah.
That'd be, I mean... And I'm also open to the notion that maybe there's more I don't understand and more I'm not capable of perceiving.
Yeah, I mean,
and therefore there might be a durability to life, but there isn't. Trust me.
We have no way of ever knowing, so why waste time thinking about it?
True. Yeah.
You'll find out one way or another
some
eventually.
Some people do look for immortality. I mean, that is, I don't think that's necessarily unachievable. Perhaps it won't be eternal immortality, but 500 years, 600. I mean, once we sort of figure out aging or computer-based, but there's a lot of people trying to like do that. Mostly just like billionaire guys that are feel like they shouldn't have to die. Yeah. Just don't invent immortality until Trump's dead. How's that? Like just for the sake of all of us. Let's wait. Let's hold off on immortality until that motherfucker's off the planet.
And especially if you come back from the dead and then your little sister steals your ark, just go back to the dead. I mean, it's there's no point.
You're hilarious, James. At Video James SP, everybody, for great tweets. Just kidding. He doesn't. All right, so he's warning her about his girlfriend, though, right? He's basically like, dude, does she sound like someone? She's not done. She's gonna keep going at it. She's gonna free everybody. So I don't remember what was between these.
Yeah,
captains.
He's basically saying that her conquest will not end at King's Landing. She's taken the throne, but now she's gonna basically impart her rule across the world.
Yeah.
And he admits that he was wrong, and basically says, not to read the quotes, but her queen's nature is fire and blood. He was wrong.
He's referring to this Targaryen's words, I think.
Yeah. I mean, right? she's said in many cases in the past before her actions were tempered by her closest advisors. She says, I shall take it with fire and blood, referring to the throne, and now she has literally done that.
My house words are cinnamon toast crunch and milk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Delicious.
But I believe that he says something to the effect of, would you have done what she did?
Yeah.
And he goes, what I would have done doesn't matter. He goes, what you would have done matters the most.
Yeah. There you go. So right before that, we'll jump back to that in a sec. He talks about how like all the people that Tywin killed and Cersei killed doesn't even raise to half of the many people that our beautiful queen killed in a single day. And this is what you're saying about burning it down. And this is important.
This is the moment that turns them.
It matters more than anything that you wouldn't have done that. And I think this is okay, right? I'm not going to say it's shitty writing.
There's two other things he says. He says, would you have chosen to do that? And he says it doesn't matter. The people of the world don't get to choose who rules them. He goes, yes, but you do.
Right, yeah.
He's the only one that can do anything about this.
No one else can do something about this problem that we
have.
I
think he even says something along the lines of, you're a threat to her. What do you think, if she sees you as a threat, what do you think she'll do to your sisters?
Yeah. That's something.
So he has played every card correctly with Jon.
Yeah, the silver-tongued Tyrion is doing his magic. He's a persuasive guy.
I saw someone on Reddit say this, and I didn't quite really grasp what they meant in the topic until just now as we're talking. And they say that Tyrion does his best talking when he's in chains.
I was thinking that too. Not about that he does his best talking, but he goes from being like super high status to being a prisoner. He gets his ass kicked, and then he's sold off as a slave, and then he kills his.
He gets dumber with freedom.
He's got some lot of massive ups and massive downs.
At the beginning of the season, he's in a fancy carriage with Varys. He goes, "Oh, Varys, you have no wing." Yeah. And that was the height of his intellect at the time, and now he's in chains and
dumber with freedom. That's a very funny statement. In this here everywhere she goes, evil men die. He's talking about how we watched our queen kill the masters of the Astapor
Meereen and Karth. Yeah,
and Karth, and she, like,
and you don't bat an eye.
Cheered her on for killing evil men.
Because evil men deserve to die in certain cases.
Yeah, so whoever stood between you and paradise. So yeah, Jon sits down and is like, oh man, God, yeah, I'm going to try Bumble next time. So
he says, I also love her too.
Not as successfully as you, wink, wink. That's kind of a weird, dumb line. That makes it seem like Tyrion wanted to bang her.
Well, he did. I think he did, because there was that scene where they were banging on the boat, and Tyrion was standing off at the distance, listening to it, looking all disappointed and everything.
Really?
Yeah. It was a little weird.
Other than like the basic of like, I would bang her. I mean, well, of course she's like young and smaller than me.
And I think he's insulted because he and Jon are practically the same height. Jon is very small.
Jon is Kit Harington.
And they even reference it as like, I think someone asked Daenerys, is like, were you with another man? And he goes, yes, but he was much taller, or something like that.
Right, yeah.
So they don't...
Because compared to Aquaman, he's a shrimp.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I would give up like 4 inches of my height and be handsome. I'd rather be handsome 5'11" than a ghastly 6'3".
It's kind of weird how many people will criticize and look down on someone. Not look down on, is the wrong phrase, but just to
look up to.
Well, just to be mean about someone, saying, "Oh, I would never date a person who was short." Oh, I don't like short people. It's like, what's the big deal?
It seems arbitrary.
I'm like 6'1". I don't, so I can't speak from their perspective. But what's wrong with being like 5'7" or 5 foot? What's the big deal?
I'm not defending that kind of judgment, and luckily women are okay with men's faults. I'm bald and stuff, but like short guys can reproduce, meaning they're not otherwise they wouldn't exist. Like they haven't been eliminated from the population, but there's a sexual selection pressure going on within all species where females make the decision and it's on the aggregate, women are more attracted to men that are taller than they are. And I've talked with women about this, not that it comes up all the time, but I've had conversations where it's like she wants to feel like that he can protect her, and that like she doesn't want to have to like pick up her boyfriend and put him in her lap. Like there is that, it's called sexual dimorphism, where the male and the female gender are different sizes. And different species, like gorillas, have very large sexual dimorphism. The male gorillas are much bigger than the female gorillas. In humans, it's like 20% or something like that.
Being taller does not make you stronger.
Not necessarily. Well, I mean,
there's a lot of guys shorter than me that could kick.
Oh, absolutely. There's tons of guys shorter than me that could kick the shit out of me. But like size, like size does help. Like just as far as like just sheer mass and weight that you have to deal with. Length of arms and it's obviously very variable in a lot of ways. But women, I don't want to be with a girl who's taller than me, 6'4". She'd fucking pick me up. She'd grab my head, like palm my head like a basketball. I would. Don't get me wrong. It'd be fun. And I've actually one thing that's interesting. Totally tangential here. I'm somewhat tall. I'm like 6'3"-ish, a little under. Drives me crazy. 6'9" in heels. Good joke. Everybody, go ahead and use that joke. But I've been with girls that are like 6 feet or more, because girls who are really tall, they have a limited dating pool in a lot of ways. It's unless they're okay with guys being short, but that is kind of a thing for women. And I'm generalizing. I'm not saying it's true for everybody, obviously, but women who are like 5'11", the taller you get as a female, you sort of, your pool of men to choose from starts to get smaller if you want to be with guys that are taller than you. And so I'm 6'3", and I've benefited from that in a way, because I've actually been with girls that are like 6 foot, and it's a 6 foot. It's a lot of lady for 6 feet. I love it. I love all of it. Big, small, I don't give a shit. Just not 6'5". Although it'd be rude I wouldn't say no. I mean, if someone, for the connection, if the mental connection was there and stuff, they'd be all like, "Can you help me with this tall shelf?
I'm just saying that.
Hold this nail."
Eventually, I want to own a house, and I need someone to clean the gutters.
Yeah, well,
I don't want to buy a ladder.
Keep me as your weird roommate for your whole life, James. I've cleaned gutters a lot of times. Okay, let's get back into it. I'm not trying to generalize, but I've already said I'm always worried about offending people.
No, I got it. Tall women, bad.
Tall women, roar! Feed me! Brienne,
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure she relates. I'm sure she's watching right now. It's Gwendolyn or something. What's her name? I saw her on a magazine at the grocery store. Love is more. Oh yeah, they had this whole weird little love is more powerful than real. What is this fucking Donnie Darko all of a sudden talking about fear and love and shit?
They bring back an old quote saying something like "Love is the death of duty," duty is the death of love, or something. Right. Yeah, there it is.
This is like this to me just felt like the D&D trying to imitate George R. R. Martin. Trying to be clever with the word.
I think that line was from a much older season.
Well, I think this line was from an older season or something, which I actually agree with this one more, though. Duty is more the death of love.
They have reappropriated lines before and twisted the meaning around to fit to what they were about to do, like the whole thing with Melisandre saying closing green eyes, blue eyes, and...
brown eyes.
And then rechanging the order of them. Well, technically, if you think about it now, it's like, she changed the order to emphasize blue eyes, which allowed them to say, yes, this is what was meant when they killed the Night King.
Right.
But has Arya killed someone with green eyes yet? Cersei had green eyes. She was supposed to kill Cersei. She didn't do that.
Cersei had green eyes?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you're very observant. Yeah, I don't know. Beats me. I thought she had yellow eyes.
Yeah.
Yellow eyes.
Yeah, she's got liver problems.
They match her hair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she has cirrhosis.
So what it says here is like, duty is the death of love. He's basically saying your duty is to do something about this queen, and that's going to seriously affect your love life.
Yeah, or that love can cloud your judgment.
Yes.
So why don't you look past it? And we could use someone to kill this lady right now, okay, pal? That's what he's saying.
And it's a terrible thing I'm asking. He's literally asking Jon to... do something,
right?
And this is where he sells it home, saying, what's he going to do to your sisters?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Do you see? This is him referring to Sansa.
Sansa has already openly said the North will not bend the knee. The North was once free, and the North will be free again.
Sansa doesn't subscribe to any channels. I mean, shit, bend the knee to any channels.
Yeah.
She only straightens the knee. Jon is like, doesn't really say anything, but he's just taking it in, like, this is his choice he has to make. So, okay, I'll say what I was thinking in this moment. So now we're following Jon too. He's walking up, and this is the snow though that's gathering. This can't be all ash, right?
No, this is snow.
Yeah, it looks like snow.
And this is where he approaches. And I was thinking this when I watched it, and someone on Reddit actually did animate it and then put the overlay graphics and the health bar and the Estus flask and everything. This is like the opening of a Dark Souls fight.
It very much is. I like this.
It's beautiful.
Sort of gothic architecture, if that's the right word for it. I did enjoy a lot of it. One thing I'm thinking of though, let's just rewind real quick here to this part. Where is this? Like they didn't really ground this in the physical location of King's Landing. They showed things crumbling and yet some of it's still standing.
So I have to imagine that it's in the Red Keep further in the distance back there, because
the Red Keep is in this.
Yes. So we find out that he's approaching the throne room, which is where she is.
Yeah.
So this has got, and you can see like right above it kind of goes up to the Red Keep. So this is sort of like at the very base.
Is this the Red Keep?
I think that's leading up to the Red Keep, which you see above. I could be wrong though. I don't know.
I think this is the throne room area. I don't know
if they've ever really established where it is.
Yeah, I think because I think there was like the king's towers and chambers were up here, because there's a whole thing with like having to climb all the stairs. It's a real pain in the ass.
When I first watched this though, I had a big question, because something's going to happen, and you can see that Jon is going to approach Daenerys, and that Jon still has his swords and everything with him. It's like, well, why would they request? You can't see a prisoner when you have your swords on, but why do they let you see the queen? And the answer to that is simple. The person who guards the queen is Drogon, not an Unsullied, not a Dothraki. There's no one to take his armaments away. And Drogon's not going to take it. So that was a criticism I had early on, and now I see that's, it kind of has some logic to it.
Okay, there's logic to that, yeah. I did like that Drogon sort of just sleeps in front of the door here. It's kind of interesting. I mean, this emerges from the snow, shakes it off. Now, wouldn't the dragon, and this is I don't know how dragon physiology works, but you'd think they'd run hot.
Well, yeah, I imagine they're cold-blooded, yeah.
No, they've got a furnace inside of them.
But they're like reptiles.
They spit the hottest fire in existence.
Doesn't mean that they can't be cold-blooded.
I can't believe you're denying
blizzards out here.
I can't believe you're denying my insight.
Spit hot sauce.
That snow should not gather on this thing. There's a sad movie where this wolf gets killed or some shit. Or maybe it's a bear. I don't know. And the baby is still there, and then but the wolf mom dies, and then like the baby's like running around going. This is like a nature documentary, and the snow starts gathering on the mom. And it starts to gather because it's not warm anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's. But I'm just saying.
No, I like to imagine that
he wouldn't have snow on him. He's a fucking dragon.
No. I like to imagine that the way it works is that there's certain chemicals that combine when he summons forth the fire. I don't believe that there's always fire raging inside of him.
Or is this the Mythbusters? Get out of here.
I mean that seems just strange to me that there'd always be a raging inferno inside him. I think that he has to create it.
Fair enough. It very well could be that. It's unfortunately they're hard to catch. We can't dissect one. It could be that. Maybe they do cool off or something, but they heat up. I'm just saying, I think they probably run hot. That's all I mean. You know how some people are like, oh, I'm hot, I need a blanket, or it's good. Everybody sort of hits their little comfort spot. I bet it's pretty high. That's all I'm saying.
But then again, Daenerys rides him while he's spitting fire, and she's not like, ooh, hot, and jumping off of him.
Above 32 degrees.
I think I just beat your argument.
No, you didn't. It doesn't mean that he's boiling. It just means that he's above 32 degrees. His skin has to be below 32 degrees for the snow to gather on him. Think about it. It's physics. I used to watch Mr. Wizard when I was a kid.
You could also make the argument that, well, Daenerys can't be burned, so maybe it doesn't bother her.
Oh, that's a good point.
But Jon was on his back, I think. But did he ever breathe fire? Yeah, when Jon was fighting the other dragon in the sky. So Jon wasn't like, oh, it's hot. And then
Yeah. Well, I know. I'm just saying 33 degrees would melt snow. It doesn't have to be super hot. In fact, that would be pretty cold. 33 is cold. I'm saying I just think that he'd be too warm for snow to gather on him. That's all I mean. Especially near his breathing out of his mouth.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. A human being, 98.6 degrees interior. You lay out in the snow will gather on you.
If you're naked?
Yeah. It's not going to melt off your body.
I don't know. If it's melting, if it's actually gathering on you, your temperatures are very, 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 very low.
I mean, like if you lay down in the snow, it's gonna.
It would turn slushy and melt, though.
You lay there long enough.
Your limbs, by the way, your body will go into sort of. It does energy conservation stuff. I have a circulation disorder.
Well, that's where frostbite gets you.
Well, yeah, but like I like your body will do a thing where it will feed less blood to your limbs and
to your extremities,
maintain your organs.
Yeah.
I have Raynaud's syndrome, which is a thing which causes my fingers to turn white because everybody's blood vessels constrict a little, mine constrict all the way. So in response to cold. But if you're naked out in the snow and snow is gathering on you, you're a corpse. I'm not saying you're like this radiating furnace. I'm just saying it hits your hair.
But what if you have acid reflux?
If it's a very heavy snow, I could see some accumulation occurring. But
I think the only way we're going to settle this is that I need you to go outside right now, lay down, and wait for the snows of Los Angeles.
All right. I saw some snow this weekend in Wisconsin. Yeah. We had
you had the chance to test it.
It got cold and it was snowing for a little while.
So it's like if someone gets buried in an avalanche, they just go, oh, and it just melts all around them.
Well, obviously.
I am human!
Yes, that's how it works. Yeah. I'm warm-blooded. I'm a mammal.
I got this.
I'm willing to accept the argument that he cools down and then he's fine. I just don't think that a full-size male dragon. I don't know if he's male.
Let's do the D&D thought on this. It's gonna look cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
That's all.
That's fair.
That's all they thought.
That's a good enough reason. This is what ruined the show for me.
This is also
a cool shot, though.
This is an important moment too because anyone who tried to approach Daenerys is going to be attacked, rejected. No one's getting by Drogon.
You don't even approach Drogon.
Drogon recognizes him almost as he knows that Jon and her are together, that they love each other, and he's a Targaryen. Yeah. So I believe there's something about that he can detect in his blood. Yeah. So he allows him to pass.
No other person could get this close, which is why you kill her with an arrow from afar. You know, you can still shoot her with something.
Or arrowhead water bottle.
Arrowhead water bottle, exactly. Poland Springs water bottle, frozen.
Yeah, they did say it was a Poland Springs. I'd never heard of that brand before, though.
I don't know why that's the one I came up with.
But that's what people have been saying it is.
Oh, in the water bottle scene? Yeah, I hope we have a shot of it. Unless they fixed it by Wednesday. Do you think they went...
I've got it saved on my phone.
All right. Hell yeah. So anyway, Jon gets by the security guard here, puts a neon orange bracelet on his wrist, and he walks in. And she is entering the king's room now. This is pretty interesting, though. I mean, just to see this room destroyed and with open sky. Right. I mean, I thought this
But this directly harkens back to her flashback in the prior season, where she goes up and tries to touch the throne, but before she can, it flashes to her with Khal Drogo and her unborn son. Yeah. As if as if to say, this is not your destiny. You will not sit on the throne. You will die before you reach your goal. Yeah. So I'm wondering if she's thinking about that in this moment.
Probably. Yeah, could be that for sure.
But this is what I mean. There is some emotional impact to this. This is what she's been fighting for the entire season.
Right.
Just standing in this room, seeing it in person,
Yeah.
and knowing the price she had to pay to get there.
And
that's a monumental feeling.
The symbolism of the throne. I think thrones are so silly. He's like, I've got this. I've got the biggest chair. Listen to me. Power in general, I'm fascinated by. But that's what it represents. Power represents control. I understand it. Like it, but it's sort of this weirdly like, why not stool, or why not like the power? Different cultures use different things too, like a scepter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a symbol of authority.
Yeah, we all agree this is your thing. I mean, that's how power works, because everybody just agrees. Okay, we all agree now for now, and well, eventually we'll change it. Maybe there'll be a bunch of violence. But yes, you're right. It is massively important for her character arc to finally reach this. That's why they did zoom in. This is the kind of symbolism and obviousness that is like this on the nose is okay. That these dudes that made this these last couple episodes
and
seasons.
This throne. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I just like the fact that she reached. They made clear to show her reaching out and touching it. Why does she have a ring that looks like chewing gum? What's up with that?
But correct me if I'm wrong, but the throne was originally forged by the Targaryens by, was it...
Dragonfire.
Was it by the original Aegon Targaryen, or was it Aerys Targaryen? I think it was Aegon Targaryen, the original one.
I think it went way deep, yeah.
Yeah, and it was from the 1,000 swords of those who he defeated of his enemies. So this is her ancestral family throne.
Right. Yeah, this is, you're right, that's true. That's a good point. It's like getting back something that belonged to her family. Yep. That's a good. And then Jon turns up, and she sees him, kind of a little bit of a smile.
Oh, it was Aegon, yeah.
There you go. Aegon's fallen enemies, and...
So she's happy to see him. She's this is her achievement. This is her victory.
Yeah.
So she's approaching him with happiness and joy and planning for the future, and join me on this quest now that we've just begun.
Yeah, it's nice to share like a big moment with a close friend.
Right, because she has nobody now. She said in the prior episode that all I have is fear now, not love.
Fuck. Oh, hold on. Yeah. Right, but then Jon immediately brings up like. People are he kind of starts giving her the business about how, wait, maybe you shouldn't have done what you did. What the hell did you do?
Well, she asked how his trip to the beach was, and he was like, no one had sunblock. Little children, burned.
Blisters everywhere.
I didn't want it.
Yeah. He's a little upset by what just happened, and she doesn't seem to be even acknowledging it. He's like, dude, this is horrible. And she's
refusing here. He's saying, like, please, for me, don't do this to Tyrion. Don't execute him. And she is refusing him.
Forgive him, yeah.
She will not give mercy.
Yeah.
And this is kind of...
She insists. This is sort of where her delusion of the madness of power starts to emerge. They're going to make a good world. It'll be a great place. And he's like, how do you know it'll be good? She's like, because I know. And he goes, why not everybody else? And
but
she goes,
this is...
all the other people who think they know what's good. I go, like, what about them? How come they're not the ones that get to pick? And they don't get to choose.
That's the line that does it.
Right. Meaning, I'm the one.
Yeah.
No one else. I alone can fix it. It's almost like she's saying.
Yeah. And her saying that was what cemented in his mind that he has to go through with what he's going to do.
Right. Right.
And this would have had so much more of an emotional impact if it had just been built up longer. I watched this thing, and it just came out as saccharine, as cheap.
So hold that thought. Let's get to it right after because I was watching it. His arm is up right now, because sometimes they do that like close-up stab thing where it's not obvious how they could have possibly done that. So this whole little girl who couldn't count to 20 thing I found to be pretty obtuse. So he goes in for the kiss now and always, and he's tricking her, I guess. He seems like he's gonna kiss her, and then he does drop his arm. So see here, that's his hand right there actually. So he drops his arm, and then he moves his shoulder back. This is why I got a bunch of screenshots here, and then this is where he grabs. So they at least did let him make room for his arm to make the killing blow, which I appreciated that, because that kind of thing bothers me. So. Grunts, this is where he stabs her, and both panting, and of course she looks him in the eye. He has to stare into the face of the betrayal that she sees. The last thing she sees is his handsome, beautiful.
She just sees him immediately go up like 5 levels.
Yeah, his experience points.
Worth so much XP.
A little loot option pops up above
Legendaries and exotics all fly everywhere. This hairpin gives me +10 to intellect.
Oh. He breaks it down for the pieces of magic inside
craft it. With this. And people have made memes of that face right there superimposed with Emilia Clarke doing her interview, best season ever.
Oh, really?
And someone asked if she's happy with the way it ends.
Oh, okay. It's funny.
Just imagine how painful it is for her. This character that is represented like hope and strength and morality and the breaker of chains, the
Right.
hero of the world, reduced to this. This is how people are going to remember her. And
You
when
mean
you
murder as a murderous
murder
tyrant.
as a tyrant.
Yeah.
And she has spent her entire adult
A
life
just
playing,
murder, by the
right,
way.
playing
Yeah.
this character and loving this character and wanting her to go out
Yeah.
the way she deserves. And I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Sure. I can imagine why she might have some feelings about that character. But also, on the other hand, she's the actor. It's not her story. You know, you do what they tell you to when you're the actor. Not that they don't sometimes let actors have some influence.
But you don't do it this
but-
abruptly, is what I mean.
No, it's bad writing.
Let there be
but also,
a greater reason for it.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. They could have done a better job telling that story. And I've dumped girls, man. It's hard. It hurts. This is a real hard way to dump somebody. Stab her in the heart. I've only done that metaphorically. One time, this chick was dumping me, and I go, what do you want? And she goes, I want to be happy. And I was like, well,
Get in line.
yeah, move on then. Okay, no, but it was fine. We actually stayed friends for a little bit, but okay. All right. So, finish what you're saying though about.
Well, that's pretty much done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was gonna say this came out of nowhere. I mean, not that I didn't expect Jon to do something about this, but I thought this whole episode was going to be about the aftermath of the destruction / now we have to unite and fight off the Unsullied and the Dothraki and her. Like the fact that they just like let him wander up to her and stab her. And I guess I understand the notion that like no one else could get past Drogon and like, he is in a unique position and to pull this off. But I just wanted better from this episode. That this was very disappointing that they got to this in like the first 20 minutes.
It was literally like one scene ago that Tyrion convinced him to do this.
Right. Well, no, like either
When does that ever happen?
I get that it should happen within the day or two of the attack. Like I don't think I wasn't sure if they were gonna. I think we talked about this last time. Like, or are they gonna let her sort of settle into being a ruler as they plot their resistance to her, or were they gonna like move in on her quicker? And I assumed it'd be faster. Like the North, all the people who still are around to fight would have gone after her and gone after her fellas, and like they just let Jon do it all by himself, which could have been done better. But I don't know. It just it was very abrupt.
I mean, would it have been better? Imagine that maybe she burned King's Landing at the end of a season, and then the next season starts, and the next season just basically is supporting evidence for her descent.
Like an occupying force. That has to
she
be
sends
resisted.
the Unsullied. Jon finds out that she sends the Unsullied to Winterfell.
Right.
And he finds out that, maybe they're holding Sansa captive. And he races there and gets there just in time to find her hanging from a tree or something.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, that would be like,
We should only be so lucky. Yeah, but I agree. Like a whole season of that.
Yeah, you need that kind of buildup.
Right. Yeah. It was very weird. I don't know. And they did it all very dramatically with the throne in the back here. This shot is obviously staged quite deliberately.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I hope I die near a toilet. That's what it's going to look like when I die. There'll just be a toilet in the background. Like Elvis. So Drogon starts flapping around.
And this is what I meant by dragons being more intelligent than they get credit for, because you could say what Drogon's about to do is purely coincidental. You could say that Drogon thought that maybe Daenerys tripped and fell and stabbed herself on the throne, and that he hates the throne because of that. I don't think that's really what happened.
No.
But it's almost as though he understands what's going on. He knows who did this. He doesn't hold it against the person who did this, and he destroys the symbol of the thing that led to the death of the one he loved.
Like it, yeah. Yeah. Like, not much more to add. I mean, he saw the throne as the thing that drove her into this state where her death, like he understands why she died.
Yeah.
Does that mean that he understands the meaning of killing so many innocent people? Not that it's okay to kill a few innocent people.
It seems to suggest that, yeah. I mean, he did as he was being told.
Yeah. Yeah. But I could use some Colgate on these bitches here, huh? Man, what a nightmare. So, right. And Jon is fully willing to be killed right here. He knows he's not going to win this fight.
Yeah.
He's just like, all right, go for it. And then Drogon surprises everybody and him by blasting the throne, as we've
and someone
already
made a really
established.
good comment on one of our past videos saying that, like, when Varys was killed and they breathed fire that close to him, he said that, I think they said something along the lines of that they were doing like some sort of firefighting thing or something where they had to put on reflective protective suits. And even despite being in that heavily shielded suit, being close to a raging fire was something you couldn't withstand for very long.
Yeah, big fires. You could feel it.
And this is like fire times 1,000. This is dragon fire that reduces bone to ash. I don't think Jon would be taking that.
Probably not.
Yeah, he's half Targaryen, but as we established very early on, being Targaryen does not mean you're fireproof. That was unique to Daenerys.
Right, like he should have been singed, like his pretty hair should have been like boiling. But anyway, so yeah, right. He survives it, and we see the thing, the chair get melted. It turns the little spikes, swords start to bend. And
it's kind of fitting though, because the throne was forged in Dragonfire and it's destroyed in Dragonfire.
Exactly. It turned into a lot of lava. Like it just turned into this molten chair.
Yeah.
I guess this is how I get rid of my IKEA furniture.
Yeah, some people were joking, and this is a little bit of a jump forward. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna harden into a ramp."
Oh right, yeah. Well, he's in his own chair.
Well, that was the other thing.
Yeah,
is like Daenerys came to break the wheel, and yet the new king brings two of his own, and he brings his own chair.
He does. Well, it's kind of solves the problem, doesn't it? You don't need this pointy chair that's hard to get in and out of. But yeah, massive moment here where the dragon destroys the Iron Throne. And I kind of felt slightly vindicated, not that anybody was saying, well, but like I did predict that they might dismantle the chair. Yeah. My thought was they would break it into swords and use the sword pieces because they'd be special because they were forged with Dragonfire. Mm-hmm. But I was at least in the ballpark that the chair was going to receive some sort of comeuppance. Yeah. And a long time coming.
And it turned out the Lannisters couldn't give less of a crap about the White Walkers, and they were not even remotely a threat to the Lannisters.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, they wouldn't tear their own throne apart.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know that at the time, but I liked your theory. But...
Yeah. But at least the chair did finally get some get its just desserts, as they like to say. So yeah, the camera pulls back. We give Daenerys in a bloody mess there. She is dead. Is this the same ring Joffrey was? Joffrey used to do this thing where he would roll a finger around.
No, I
play with his ring.
I don't think so. I think her rings were much more intricate and have like dragon symbology and stuff on it.
But this specific one, I remember seeing that.
I just don't see how would she have that.
Well, maybe it's like all the kings where they all go to the
they went to Jared's.
The Jared's, yeah. I was thinking of what's the candy with the
ring pop?
Not ring pop. Where you get a little toy with the caramel popcorn.
Cracker Jacks.
Cracker Jacks. They all use
the magic decoder ring.
Yeah, it's a magic rich people king.
Drink more Ovaltine.
Pretty cool. I thought the way they lifted her up with this big thing. You think this is a practical effect?
Yeah, they got a bunch of PAs holding a giant.
Well, they had to lift her. Sure.
Well, no, they had to, but they had to replace it with something else. So it was something going underneath her that was covered in green felt, and I didn't even think.
Why
about
not
that.
build that? Well, like they did a bunch of shit for Jurassic Park. Star Wars, the original. George Lucas. This is George Lucas' finger. He's gross. Yep. He's old and rich and gross. That guy's neck has its own Congress. No, that's not even a creative or original. All right, so he flies off.
So Jon is honest and noble to his own fault, just like any other Stark. Because what happens in this room, the only evidence that remains is a pool of blood and the fact that Daenerys isn't there. Now, nobody else knew she was even in that room.
Right.
He could have said she wasn't there. This was here before.
Yeah, he could have lied.
He had to have told people what he had done because he probably couldn't live with himself if he didn't.
Yeah.
And he was going to accept his fate for having done so because otherwise there were no witnesses.
Good point. I didn't even think about that. And I felt like that was missing from this episode was like the news gets out, the word travels that all the Dothraki find out, the Unsullied find out. They wouldn't react at all, but their boners go down. But like they just jumped ahead. So that's very close to this next scene. But just real quick, where do you think Drogon's off to? What's
Valyria?
Valyria?
Yeah, that's where dragons are from.
Oh, that's not the fucking cool answer I was hoping for. I think he's gonna go eat her and then have dragon eggs. That's how dragons reproduce. They eat their favorite owner and then they make new eggs. He's off to turn her into. That's the cycle of rebirth. Yeah. That's my theory.
But here's the thing: who could Jon have told what he did to first? It would have to be Grey Worm. That's the master of the armies. And Grey Worm, in his current state of mind, would have just struck Jon down, killed him instantly.
Right, one would think.
So why in the world will Grey Worm murder Lannisters in the street and yet look to Jon, he's already pulled spears against, who threatened him multiple times, upon learning that Jon killed his queen, he would end him instantly.
If that's the person who he
wouldn't be like
first.
I shall take you prisoner.
But they could have ended the episode on him killing her and then the whole another episode of him, like, what happens right after that? Like, there's so much more to this story that they could have been told. Because what they do is they jump to Tyrion with his, this is the equivalent of, like, when they show us the ashtray filling up with cigarettes. Like, his beard is long now, so he's been in prison a while. So we just immediately shift from this dragon disappearing into the I was trying to sound smart. Crepuscular hue, the crepuscular fog, and now fucking Tyrion in jail. They didn't do what you said. They could have shown a lot of that, or shown a lot of really interesting stuff.
It could have only gone down two ways.
All right.
The first way is Jon says what happened. The second way is that Jon tries to keep it secret because he's like, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
And then Bran rolls up and goes, I saw everything.
Yeah.
Here's how it went down.
Here's a dot gif of it. A dot .rm from Real Player, the original streaming video player codec, which was really weird.
You'll love our compression.
Yeah.
You download this from an ICQ.
Not ICQ. You could have gotten it from someone sent it to you, but IRC.
IRC chat relay.
Internet chat relay.
Internet chat relay. Yeah, it's Bran, whatever. So Tyrion's there, his beard is the size of his hair now.
So at this point, I don't get the impression that Tyrion knows that Daenerys is dead.
Oh, I assume he would have.
How would he have found out in captivity, though? Because the only person who would visit him is Jon, and Jon's not going to visit him because Jon is effectively
the
persona non grata.
It's the biggest. I mean, yes, it's possible that he wouldn't have heard, but it's like the biggest thing that what bigger rumor / truth.
But if the only
that
people
wouldn't be told. Yeah, you're right. If the only, but there might have been other people that might have said, "Hey man, did you hear about the fucking guy who killed her?"
The Unsullied typically speak High Valyria. They rarely speak English. As revealed when he tried to get in to see Jaime, and he was saying the stuff like, I want to eat the skull bearer and all that kind of stuff, because he was like, we do speak the common tongue.
Just based on what happens in the world, Tyrion knows that if she were alive, different things would have happened to him.
He may have been able to draw some conclusions that something was off.
That's an intuitive conclusion, or that you could
and he is chained
that
Tyrion, so you know he's smarter at the moment.
Yeah, he's not dumber by freedom.
Yeah.
So we go into the dragon pit that was of the old days where they meet, and they have a meeting here, which is where we had the White Walker presented to to Cersei way back in whatever season that was. Tyrion's not looking great. He's having a hard time. Now, where's the water bottle?
The water bottle would be right next to Sam's foot, so it's right behind there. You may have slightly missed it. And you notice how no one wants to sit near
Which
Arya.
leg was it?
It was the one you're looking at right now.
Well, we should.
So if you just give me one quick moment.
All right.
So you can see his shoulder right there. You've got almost the same shot.
Yeah.
But there it is, clear as day.
Oh, but it's on the right side. Yeah, the shot was, the water bottle's right off to the side there, so we must have missed it. I'll put it on screen.
I think there's actually two water bottles, though. But before you go to the next shot...
All right.
This whole scene bothered me because the guy between Sam and Edmure...
Yeah.
seemed like he had never gotten a call out, and it was like, who could this guy be? And I started looking online for it, and the answer of the speculation is really interesting.
All right, what? I just assumed they had a couple randos because they.
Well, these are the lords of houses,
right? Yeah, no, but not like street people, but like random lords that we don't.
He is of the right age and is wearing very similar armor to someone we saw way in the past, and the hilt of his sword is very comparable to the hilt of the sword of this very person, Ned Stark's closest friend, Howland Reed.
Okay. Yeah, that could be it. That would
the
make
man
sense.
who stabbed the Sword of the Morning in the back.
Yeah, which is you should do.
Yeah.
The guy's about to kill your friend, you kill that guy.
Sir Arthur Dane.
That's how that works.
So we've got Davos, we've got Sansa, we have Brienne.
Yeah.
I don't see any water bottles in that particular shot.
We're on water bottle watch right now here. It'd be funny if back here was just like a table of donuts.
Yeah.
Yep. This guy now. Who is this guy now? Is he the bear? The Bear Island,
that
probably?
Could be a Mormont. I don't know for sure. I know that's Yara next to him, and that's the Dornish prince to the right.
Do you think they told him to cover the pommel or the hilt or whatever that's called? And
yeah, it could be.
yeah, this Dorne there, the Dorne guy. Yep. So anyway, go ahead. We're now where are we at? He's our prisoner, Sansa. So is Lord Tyrion. Oh yeah.
So Grey Worm
Worm
doesn't want Tyrion to speak. He's like, you are a prisoner. You do not get to speak.
Yeah.
But Tyrion's like, yeah, but I kind of have to.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
like, it's not your call to make.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit later, though, before they decide what they're going to do.
Yeah, so they come to the decision that they're the most powerful people in the land, and if they do not have the right to choose who should lead them, then who would have the choice?
Yeah. And this actually explains a bit, though, just jumping backwards a slight bit, is maybe Jon Snow was protected by the fact that it would create a massive war had they hurt him.
Right.
But I agree, though, that
yeah.
in his state of mind, you'd think he'd just like lash out and kill him or something. So
Yeah, so right now they're kind of at each other's throat. And Yara, remember this. Remember that Yara said what she said right here. She says, Daenerys is my queen. She freed us from a tyrant.
yeah, Cersei was the tyrant.
And yet
yeah.
not more than like 2 minutes later, she's like, I'll go with your suggestion.
Yeah.
She turns very quickly.
She does turn quickly. Right, she would have been outvoted.
And she wants, I mean, despite the fact that Ned Stark raised Theon as his own son, she's like saying, execute Jon Snow, give him what he deserves. Like,
Right.
Yara, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And Arya puts her in her place. Say
Yeah.
another word, I'll cut your
And
throat.
then she starts standing, and was this guy Davos is like, oh, hey, chill out, everybody. We've been cutting each other's throats for far too long.
Yeah.
It's all right, everybody.
And he even
relax."
says Grey Worm's name in High Valyria, Torgo Nutho.
Yeah. Torgo Nutho.
Yeah, the least eloquent way of ever saying it. And Gendry's there as well.
That's
I didn't
fine.
see him originally.
Yeah, Gendry. I like his thing. It was with like the kind of looks like he got scratched by a bear, or like he was like
a bear like rests on either side of his shoulders.
like he went to prom with a bear. And we've lost Lord with the Devil. So this sort of, I have a major objection to Grey Worm having anything to do with this process at all.
He really shouldn't.
Once Dany is dead, he's just a guy that needs to be fucking kicked out. The only
Yeah.
thing the reason I can understand why he might say he belongs is because he's got this big army that could cause a whole bunch of problems if
Right.
he decides to. But he's not ambitious.
No.
He doesn't have that notion. I mean, yes, he's been elevated through his various ranks with her and stuff, so he doesn't think of himself as a regular soldier. But what the fuck are they acknowledging him for at all?
It makes no sense because
It's weird.
Daenerys was an invading aggressor.
Yeah.
Yes, they were ruled by a tyrant. Yes, Cersei was horrible, but everyone there witnessed what they did in King's Landing,
Yeah.
which is unthinkable. So she was a monster. She died. And now the only person that remains is Grey Worm and his army, who are representative of the Daenerys the aggressor.
Right.
Jon should be celebrated as a hero.
Yes.
Jon should not be subject to the whims and judgments of the invading fallen forces, like you were saying.
So this part right here, I think, is an attempt to justify why they're paying any attention to Grey Worm, because he's talking about how they would have lost it if the Unsullied hadn't been there for the fight against the Army of the Dead. Although they were all losing that fight.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
like
wasn't really...
your ability to duplicate yourselves at will is paramount to our success.
Right. To be fair, I mean, they did show up and fight, and I get that, but it doesn't give them the right. They were brought there by Daenerys, and they were ostensibly they're free, but they don't have any place in Westeros at all.
Yeah.
They even started, part of like with him and Missandei talking about we don't belong here. We're gonna need to get out of here.
Speaking of not belonging somewhere, this shot right here is great. Why is this shot great? Think of the prophecies.
Because Sansa has great posture.
No, if you think of prophecies, what was one of the ones that was always repeated throughout the show?
Cersei will lose her kids.
There must always be a Stark in Winterfell. Whoops, they're all there.
Oh, well,
Uh-oh.
yeah, all right, whatever. That's fine. Maybe Bran's been, slipping some past the goalie. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because when something happens here, the first thing Sansa screams is, "Can't be him! His wing don't work!"
That's true. Yeah, we can't father children. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on, Sansa. How do you know that?
I wish they'd use your
How do you
words.
know he's just not? His legs just don't work below the knees. I mean, come on.
Well,
Are you a doctor, Sansa?
I don't know if the penis like when people like I don't know. I know I sound
would
ignorant
never-
here, but like if you're paralyzed. I'm not sure how straight a line the paralysis is. It might be, and it probably is.
And that's not something your sister should know,
well,
unless you're a Lannister.
except the entire political structure is built around who bangs who marries who, and who reproduces. I mean,
But that's the wheel.
if you were impotent, you'd
The
be
wheel
like,
must be broken.
oh fuck, they're gonna find out I can't get it up. Yeah, that's one of the wheels. I mean, there's much bigger wheels to break than that one, but I think, yes, Yes, you're right. There is no Stark in Winterfell, but whatever. Maybe they left maybe one of them put like pillows under their blanket and like they made like Ferris Bueller with the synthesizer.
Yeah. So what Davos is trying to do here is he's trying to offer land in the Reach where there's no people left to the Unsullied, saying we can live in peace and harmony, make it your own, start your own house. And he's like, no, that is not what I want. We do not want payment.
Yes. And
he has a crusade.
We want justice, is what he says.
He wants to complete the crusade that he said he was going to do. Return to the beaches of Noth with Missandei.
Missandei, yeah.
And he wants justice. He wants Jon to die.
Right.
He wants Tyrion to die.
Yeah, he's out for blood, and I just don't understand why any of them give a shit about him at all, other than the fact that he's got a bunch of guns, basically. He's got all these aggressive weapons that he can activate in the form of his
But now he's missing his most important one.
So stop feeding them. Yeah. What the hell? Like, you could figure out a way to get rid of them and then make Jon Snow the king.
Yeah,
it seems pretty goddamn obvious.
And once Grey Worm leaves on his boats, which he's going to do in a couple of scenes,
right?
Does Jon really have to do what he says?
No, not at all. It's ridiculous. But anyway, we get to this little dramatic whole selection scene here. But it's not for you.
And this kind of cuts back to like what Daenerys said. It's not for them to decide what's good. Right. And Tyrion is like saying it's not for you to decide.
Right.
This should be a decision everyone makes.
They agree to choose a king. Yeah, I think we missed that part where they say we have to pick something. Yeah, here we go. We don't have a king or queen. Young Robert's grown up a bit, turning into a guy.
Robin,
whatever.
Whatever.
It's the same thing. Yeah, so you're the most powerful people in Westeros. You're all the big shots here. So just pick a king. This is how,
Water bottle look? Do you see a water bottle?
No.
No water bottle.
No water bottles.
Yeah, well.
Too bad. Yeah, make your choice then. So he does agree. Like gives a shit what he thinks. I just don't. And I liked Grey Worm for most of this whole series, but they turned him like it's also just weird. Why
Grey Worm is not in chains right now?
Right.
And him being on trial is just beyond me.
Right. Exactly.
He started the riot where he just killed the Lannister guy who already had thrown his sword down in the middle of King's Landing that led to more bloodshed. He was then invading aggressive. I mean, he's like, come on.
He was just a general of the woman who killed everybody. He's like one of Hitler's top lieutenants, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like when Saddam Hussein was toppled, did we ask, his sons, they were dead, by the way, but had they been alive, would we have asked Uday or Kusei what we should do next?
Exactly.
Follow their guidance?
If Uday and Kusei had, Jeb Bush in chains and having a meeting.
That would be the most boring prisoner ever.
So they decide to like, okay, fine, we'll pick somebody. And then what's this guy's
Edmure?
Edmure, yeah. I was thinking Edwin. It's Edmure.
So this is the guy who basically got the throne, was in captivity for like 5 years after the Red Wedding, where he was the one who stood in place of Robb Stark.
Yeah. To
make the marriage bond with
Walder Frey's daughter. Yeah. But they trick her, but they give him the hot one, and then they immediately capture him.
So he's like, okay,
he's the head of the River Run here.
Yeah, so he's making an argument, saying, okay, well, I'd like to say that I have some sort of experience in my time that would make me a solid leader. So he's basically putting
small skill in statecraft.
Yeah, he's throwing his hat into the ring as he deserves to do so. The man was in jail for 5 years being tortured because of Robb Stark's inability to keep his promise. I'd say they owe him a debt of gratitude a little bit. And yet she just says, Uncle, sit down.
Oh,
and makes a mockery of him.
I think it was a funny moment. I thought it was funny.
And then he bangs his sword when turning around. It's like, come on, poor dude.
Yeah, no, they put him in his place, but he had... this was sort of comic relief.
No, he wasn't qualified at all.
Yeah.
But at least let him finish the sentence.
This is just setting up the notion that the fact that she doesn't let him finish the sentence is the point. Because that's the real power is the Starks here.
I just don't like Sansa.
I don't know. I like Sansa a lot. She's been an incredibly difficult journey being with these marriages and rapes and all this other shit that happened.
She's not had it easy at all.
Not at all. And she's matured. I think I find Sansa to be one of the more kind of fulfilling character arcs in this whole story, even with the kind of poor storytelling of the last season. But you're right. Okay, fine. You don't have to like her. I'm not trying to persuade you. It'd be funny if she did tear that ring off her neck and said, "Start it as she wants."
That ring really does bother me. Every time I see her, I just stare. I was like, "What is that freaking ring doing?"
I don't know. I wonder if necklaces like that are hard to wear. I guess there's only one way to find out. Oh, but anyway, she puts him in his place, and she's like, "No, it's just sit." And she sort of doesn't back down. She's like,
she looks at we should not ever consider voting for you.
And everyone's like, "Damn, this was a little bit hokey, I guess, but it's fine. It
Yeah.
didn't distract too much from the scene. So she
And then
makes him
Sam,
sit down.
And then Sam's like, I have a novel idea. How about something I like to call democracy?
Yeah, yeah.
And then he gets
Isn't it
laughed
for
down
everyone?
too.
Yeah. I didn't appreciate this moment because I didn't know if I predicted it, but I said maybe they will invent them. Maybe they'll stop with this monarchy crap and which is best for everyone. Well, everyone? And then they all just bust up laughing.
And he was like, why don't we give the horses votes too?
Yeah. I'll ask my horse, the dogs. And
The dogs, yeah. No, that's
there you
one,
go.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Earth could use democracy. I wish everyone on
but
Earth
here's
got to
another
fucking
thing
weigh in and
that-
said we do have, landed gentry and
So-
the moneyed elite get to decide who really has power in the
So if
fucking
you
world.
stay on this screenshot real quick.
Okay.
Yara,
Yeah.
the Iron Isles. How did they vote for a king?
Kingsmoot.
Right. Where they basically fight it out and they say, I'd like to be king, I'd like to be king, we shall
Yeah.
have it out, may the drowned god choose.
Yeah.
And then she's scoffing and laughing at the idea of people being elected or chosen by people. It's like,
Well,
I mean, come on.
but only the people who have any right to claim it get to
Right.
battle for it.
But she's basically mocking an idea that's not that far divorced from the way that she does things back in the Iron Isles.
Oh, but the only people that got to claim it were her, Theon, and Euron. And
I thought it was
that's 'cause
anyone who challenged it.
I think you had to have a privileged claim from your.
You have to come back from death to be worthy of the drowned god, though. You have to drown and then resuscitate, or else you're just dead. I think that
Yeah.
was the passing.
Maybe that. Yeah, they have their own rituals that are definitely more intense or different.
Right,
than
but
the,
it just
the
seems
rest of the
it just seems
continent.
like she should be a little bit more accepting of that than she was.
You mean receptive of democracy?
Yes.
Yeah. No, they're all power. I mean, this is like even that's the thing. It's like even among like the owner society, that like the capitalist class, the upper levels of the industrialists, the people that run the planet, the oligarchs, whatever you want to call them. They, even if they don't agree on stuff, they still have solidarity within their own class. They still look out for each other on that level because that's the system that supports them all. That's the system they would resist changing. So it doesn't strike me as weird that she would be mocking of the notion that regular people should have a say in how
It just
things are
seems
chosen.
inconsistent to me. The fact that they should be allowed to sit back, because when they first bring up the idea that they should choose a new king, she goes, "Well, Daenerys is my queen. This is ridiculous."
Right.
It's like, no, that you do this all the time. Every time your king comes to fall, that's how you all get together. You choose a new king.
Yeah, but their economy is based on like pillaging and pirating.
Well,
so
no, not anymore. She put an end to that.
yeah, well, right. So maybe she's changing her viewpoints, and this is part of how she's changed too. I don't know. It's an interesting thought, and I appreciate your perspective about it. I hadn't even really thought about it. Other than that, she's of that class, so therefore she'll defend the interests of that class.
No, I get Dorne the prince laughing about it, sure, because
Yeah.
that's a bloodline lineage for Dorne, so of course he would scoff at it. But Yara,
It's bloodline for the Yara, though.
I'll have to look it up. I don't
Yeah.
think that's the case, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, it might be plausible that someone. I think it might be like, but it's not just any old person can throw their hat in the Kingsmoot. There might be a chance that like a big ship captain or something might go for it, but
Yeah.
the way they told this story, my recollection was Yara, Theon, and Euron. And Euron's appearance was really unfortunate. They didn't want him to show up,
Yeah, he just kind of
and he killed the guy to force the Kingsmoot.
He killed his own brother, right?
Yeah, his much older brother. So anyway, if someone asked Tyrion like, why, how about you do it, or why don't you want to be king? You probably want to be king, don't you? And he's like, half the people hate me for Daenerys. Do you want to read about the
No,
Kingsmoot?
go for it.
Right, okay. Well, I know, but it's hard for me to talk while you're
No, I can hear you.
I know you can hear me, but I can't think.
When a Kingsmoot is held, any captain may put his name forward as a candidate for the rule. So anyone.
Okay, anyone. Very
Yep.
good. So I still don't agree though that she shouldn't. It would be weird for her to laugh at this notion. It still makes perfect sense that she would be mocking of the idea that other people have a right.
Nah,
It's not like she comes from a place that practices democracy. That's not the same thing.
Well, people choosing who should be the king is kind of in her wheelhouse.
Yeah, actually,
It's just
I'll
the
take back
method.
what
The
I said.
method by which they choose is different. Yes,
Yeah, fair enough.
But the
I will-
idea of someone to come forward and say, "I would like to put my hat out to be king,"
Yeah.
that's totally what she's about.
I'll take back what I just said because it is more democratic than these others. But I still think it's totally normal that she would be totally defensive or in complete alignment with all the other people here who wouldn't want to give regular people. I still don't think that the Kingsmoot, they're going to let some some lowly
We got to be a captain, yeah.
yeoman guy who's just hauls ropes on a boat to show up and be like, I'm gonna be the king. Like,
well, no, I mean it had to be a captain, but everyone who's here has some sort of clout. They
like
have some either birthright or they've done something interesting. So these aren't just nobodies.
The Constitution was written not to protect everybody. It was written to protect wealthy landowners. Those are the only people who had any power. Yeah. That's literally what it was. It was written down. So
they said, I suppose you want it, Tyrion.
Yeah.
And he's like, me? No.
Right. So he's like, I couldn't possibly. Nobody here would accept me there. And look at his hands, all gross and stuff.
Well, he's been in captivity for a while for his beard to grow that far.
Oh, for sure. No, it's not like they gave him a sink. And he starts going on about like what really motivates people or something like that. Like, is it gold? Is it story? Is it other stuff? Yeah. He goes, no, it's story. I couldn't remember. Stories.
Yeah, neither could D&D.
Yeah. And I just watched it like 2 hours ago. Stories. And I actually kind of agree. Like stories, lore, mythology, the way what we tell ourselves about who we are and where we came from. Those are very important and very powerful factors in our society. That's why movies and books and things, cultural influences, all these things do sort of guide forward or backward progress in society and in stuff. And generally it tends to be forward, but some people really want to push for backward progress, which wouldn't be progress.
Yes.
But he says, who's got more stories? Now, this part, I didn't predict this. I hadn't even really thought about it much, but like, I was kind of surprised that they went with Bran.
No, I knew like 2 weeks advance because
you saw the spoilers.
Yeah. But it's like, who has a better story than Bran? Okay, well let's go down the list.
How about
Sansa does have a better story than Bran. Jon has a far. I mean, the dude came back from the dead.
Right.
He has a way better story. He united the wildlings in the north. He stared down the Night King at Hardhome. He was king in the north. He was truly Aegon Targaryen. He's literally the heir to the throne. Pretty good story. Arya, pretty great story. I mean, she took on the Night King. She killed Walder Frey. She went to the Faceless Men, became an assassin. Pretty important. Gendry has had a really good story. I mean, he was used for blood magic by Melisandre to bring down Renly, and he forged the obsidian weapons that allow them to fight and defend Winterfell.
Made a cool helmet.
Yeah, I mean, who else? Tyrion. Way better story.
Yeah. I mean, Bran's got a compelling. They all have compelling stories. Like Bran's story isn't on the.
Did Bran do anything to earn the story though? He was literally dragged and carried through his entire story.
And he manipulated Hodor. He took advantage of this poor guy, this kid. He went back in time and made Willis into a simpleton.
He laid in a tree and grasped onto roots and just rolled his eyes back. Yeah. That's his contribution to the story.
And in this season, it's not like they made him they made it seem like he had so much influence and power, which like he drew out the Night King and he was there, but he just sat there. He didn't do shit. He flew the birds around in the sky during this whole season.
He exhibited the fact that he had warg abilities as a Stark before he even became the Three-Eyed Raven, and never once, aside from once, warging into Hodor to rip that guy apart.
Right.
That was the only time he really used it to any effect.
Yeah, I mean, he warged into Hodor more than once, but like, he could like.
Well, he did it once to break him by mistake.
Right.
And then maybe a couple times.
Yeah, once in the tower where during a thunderstorm where Hodor was panicking because of the lightning. But
to calm him down. Yeah.
Like the justification for Bran being king actually I think it does make sense that he would be king, and he does say it in this scene here that he has our memories, he has all their stories in his head. So he's got the keeper of all our stories. So in that sense, I could say it, but his own personal story isn't all that.
Yeah, from a logical standpoint, you think about who has power. Sansa is, we're about to find out, she is Queen of the North, basically.
Yeah.
And in terms of a power struggle, Starks are pretty much in line for it. So Sansa can't be king because she's a queen. And the person who has the first right to a throne is obviously the male heir, like it or not. That's how the stupid things were back then. And in fantasy settings, they've chosen to do it here as well. So Bran kind of is the natural successor to the throne. Not that he's earned it, but just the fact that he's a Stark and he's a male. That's it.
Yeah, and he has the knowledge. I mean, in that sense, that part of the story argument I get, but the whole point of like hey, his story is more compelling than everybody else's. Like,
but it's like they tried to make him king of Winterfell or king in the North, and he's like, I don't want it, I don't care, I don't really want anymore.
Yeah.
And now they said right there, Bran has no interest in ruling and can't father children, so she jumps up as if to say, he's like, no. You shouldn't be. I don't know if she's trying to take power for herself, or if she is trying to protect him and guard him from a responsibility that she thinks he doesn't really want.
Yeah, I don't think she's trying to protect herself there. I mean, she knows she's sort of calling the shots in Winterfell. But it's like, because he's checked out. They made it very clear, like he has he's happy being the three-eyed raven. He talks about how he's not even a Stark, doesn't he?
But yeah, he does say that, right? But why does it matter that he can't father children?
Well, that's because they have this understanding that you have to have kids.
But why do you have to have kids?
So you can marry them off to other political families in order to have your alliances. It's the glue that holds their political alliances together.
You could adopt.
Marjorie, yeah, maybe he could adopt.
But the thing is,
what the fuck? Maybe he could adopt like a cute doggo.
I mean, the last three-eyed raven lived to be 1,000 years old. He's not going to die anytime soon.
Oh, good point. And the new his wheelchair will eventually just become a tree in the throne room. It'll feed off the iron from the melted thing. Do you think they clean up the iron?
Yeah.
And then it turns into a weird brambly tree, and then he just looks like an old man in a high school play standing on a ladder inside a bunch of roots that he bought at a fish tank store.
So like they're going to be stuck with him for a very long time unless someone kills him or unless maybe he falls out another window.
Yeah. What if he sneaks? He turns into rock climbing, but just with his arms. He's got huge arms.
Yeah.
And but he still gets like. He's just like sneaking around, like skulking about the outside of the castle, watching people have sex.
Yeah, and I did see on Reddit. Someone said is like, did he not take offense? Why didn't he question being dubbed Bran the Broken?
Yeah, right.
And someone put like one of these like little fake exchanges like where Bran says, actually, could you drop the broken? It's like Tyrion's like, okay, fine. Bran the wheelie legs no feely.
Well, there you go.
Like,
wheelie. Yeah. There's also some criticism of it from the disabled community.
Oh, of course,
not liking to be referred to as being broken.
Yeah, I mean,
it's ableist, and I don't actually have a lot of knowledge about how
this is a fantasy setting. This is set long. If people are upset about that, that's. I mean, this is not our world.
Agreed, and it is in an old timey way, and it's not like you should expect them to, live up to our modern standards. But I also think that the people who have those criticisms have every right to say it. I always defer to people who have experience that I don't, and people who are disabled have every fucking right to have their voices heard.
He's being crowned king.
I know, but just specifically about being called the broken. And I'm first to say I'm ignorant about what because the word you see is ableist and ableism, and I haven't read up on that, so I don't want to comment on it too closely. Other than the fact that I always respect people's own lived experiences because I have not lived it. Yeah. So I get what the criticism comes from, but I also agree with the other side. Not that I actually understand all the sides. That like. That is the kind of thing they might have called someone who is,
absolutely.
They make fun of the dwarf, they make fun of the eunuchs.
Calling him that is not making fun of him. It's stating a fact. It's like your spine has been damaged. You can't walk. You have been disabled in a sense that your body is more in a broken state than another person. It's literal. It's not an insult. It's not. But they're not mocking him.
My understanding is they're cautious, like they would rather that kind of language because it serves to reinforce ways people think about it. I get it. I don't actually understand. I'm not saying I understand it because I think I disagree. I'm just saying I haven't read up on it and I know I'm ignorant about it. And it's something I would like to learn more about because for me, I always come down, as I said, on respecting people's lived experience. So it's fine. It's whatever it is, it is. I'm not going to get all up, fussy about it. Sons of... So I did like this, though. Like, oftentimes the son of the king can be stupid and dumb.
Yeah, so not being able to father children is not a bad thing.
Right.
It doesn't mention the fact that he's basically immortal now, though.
Yeah, I know. I did. That part, so I didn't think about. That's kind of funny. I wonder if it'll work that way. So they do agree. They all don't... Nobody objects to this idea that, okay, well, when we have... a new king. When we need a new king, we'll all get together here and we'll make up our
They're not going to be alive.
Well, no, if he's immortal. But
they just gloss over that.
Yeah, but does that come from living up in the tree in the woods or something?
I don't know. Maybe that's maybe the longevity comes from that. Maybe he's just going to live a normal life. Who knows?
It's fucking magic rules. Who knows? But so this is in a way, though, a step towards democracy just by getting rid of the hereditary heir, whatever they call that.
The lineage,
rule
by blood.
Yeah. But so maybe that's a sign of progress. A lot of times progress doesn't happen at the rate that the people who need it deserve, but it happens slower than usual. And so this is a slow step towards something better. I think it is better not to just give the king to Tommen or Joffrey or whoever Bran sires, which he won't. But okay, so. I know you don't care about... Yeah, so this is him talking about Brandon. Do you accept it? And he says, like, why do you think I came all this way?
Yeah, it's like...
Like, what? This whole time he just is passive observer on this, like, timeline that's already been written out?
Does it kind of imply that... I know people have said that he can't see the future, but he can see the past.
Yeah.
But does this mean that he was aware that things were going to work out all this way, that he let all these people suffer and die and said nothing because he knew it would end up this way? I mean, and why do you think I came all this way? It's like, you said earlier that you're not a Stark, that you are not... You're not who you used to be, that you're something different now.
It could be
that you don't care about things. You don't want to be the ruler of Winterfell. What is this bullcrap?
I mean, it could just be the journey from Winterfell south. It's a long ride. I mean, although...
But he does reiterate afterwards he doesn't want it, because he effectively named... Oh, and this is where everyone suddenly turns and says, I.
Yeah, so we
and
all
Yara
agree.
is like, I.
Yeah. Sansa then, though, says, yeah, no, I'm not going to make you my king, because I'm the queen of my kingdom, and and it's the furthest away, and it's its own kind of thing up there, so it makes sense the North shouldn't be independent. Like, why does it all got to be ruled under the other one?
Yeah.
If anything, you think the other people are like, I wish I didn't say I. Could have picked my own.
It's like, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
I retract my I.
Yeah. It's an A.
Yeah, and he's not going to say no to her because he's a Stark. He's from Winterfell. He loves his sister. He's not going to subject her to a rule.
It would have been awesome if he was like, I am the ruler of the seven. Kill her. Kill her. And he goes, Dracaro. And Rolio. I see. I shouldn't have said is that bad?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so first of his name, so he calls him King of the Andals, the Sandals. They misspelled Sandals. Great resort.
Water bottles.
Yeah, water bottles. Yeah. There's a huge, light Aquino lamp over here. So they make Bran the king. All hail Bran the Broken. So everybody straightens the knee by standing up. Look, straighten the knee.
Bran. Oh, I was just like, one person didn't stand out. I didn't realize it was Bran.
Yeah, Bran's the one that
How weird would it have been if he had
he?
messed up and stood up?
So now, instead of bending the knees, they straighten knees. Look how funny this is. I wish that subtitle wasn't on there to ruin the shot. So boom, we have a king. I was pretty stunned by this, though. I wasn't. I mean, I don't know what I even predicted, but... Yeah,
the leaks basically said things went one of two ways. It said that Bran was crowned king and that there was this trial that Tyrion was put on. And one of the leaks said that Tyrion was essentially put on trial and they were basically all attacking him. And he was giving this impassioned, frustrated speech about, I saved you at the Battle of Blackwater Bay. I did all these things and you guys do not appreciate what I've done. I didn't say you guys, but, that was and he basically collapses down in frustration. And they said that they don't know whether Tyrion dies or is executed, but another scene was shot in studio off location, so it's possible they executed them there.
Oh, okay.
And they said that during that scene, Bran stood up and repeated a line that Tyrion said back in season 1 or 2, where he said, everything I do for my family. As if to say his motives were always with the Lannisters. He was never truly with them in heart and mind.
All right.
So that's what I was hoping didn't happen, and I was relieved to see that that did not happen.
Okay, very good, very good. Let's keep moving then. We do actually have quite a bit more to go.
Yeah, so he makes Tyrion his hand, and Grey Worm, for some reason, is okay with that, saying, okay, I'll release the prisoner because he's going to serve out his mistakes as your hand for the rest of his days.
Yeah, that's his...
Which seems unlikely that Grey Worm would acquiesce to that.
Yeah, it's not even...
And I think Grey Worm says something like, you can't do that. And he goes, yes, I can. I'm the king.
Right, yeah.
But Grey Worm recognizes that?
Well, I mean, what's he going to say at this point? No, I mean, he's even further away from power now that they chose a king, I guess, I suppose. And I saw some tweets, people making jokes about how just as Tyrion getting a hand job, which is another hand job. And it's good,
I haven't heard that one yet. I like it, though.
Yeah, all right, high five.
John's looking great.
John's looking good. We're going, I wish I could grow a real beard like Hank.
Yeah.
Hank can grow a better beard than me because he's got testosterone coursing through his long veins.
But you think he would be like, they do know I'm a hero, right?
Right.
Things are going to be okay.
Yeah. Like, this guy saved millions of people.
Yeah, he sacrificed everything to protect people.
Yeah, killing his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So
he should be celebrated in the streets.
I think the D&D just accepted that this makes sense. This doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Other than, I get that they would be cautious. You can't just dismiss the Unsullied automatically, I guess. It might be nuanced, but
the problem,
who gives a fuck about Grey Worm and his bullshit army?
The problem is that Jon is the rightful heir to the throne. So Bran could not take the throne as long as Jon is alive, or Jon does something that makes him ineligible to hold to be king, which would be pledging to the Black.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get that part, yeah.
But he doesn't need to be sentenced there as a prisoner. He should go there by his own volition. Right. That's what bothered me.
Yeah, or Bran should say, okay, as soon as we get rid of these Unsullied, Jon will be king, because he's obviously should be the king, I guess. But it would be resuming the wheel then, I guess, the hereditary thing, if they let the Targaryenness of it take it on. So I guess in a way it rejects the Jon's Targaryenism no longer means as much. So, Bastards and... Yeah, you guys... the North. He's talking about going to the Night's Watch. We still need a place for the Bastards and Broken Men. You still wanted your head, of course, but we couldn't give him to him, blah, blah, blah. Sansa and Arya wanted you freed. This is just sort of, giving Jon the news. I did like this line. He says, no one's happy, which means it's a good compromise, I suppose. And there's some wisdom in that sentence. There's Jon. That's how Kit Harington looks like before his makeup every morning. Yeah. That's what he looks like. Ask me again. Yeah, he's like...
he's basically... Did
I do the right thing?
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, like, yeah, but you did. Like, of course he'd be tormented by it. He just stabbed his lady in the chest right in front of her. Well, directly into her. But he was also party to her murdering all those people, in a sense. Like, he didn't want her to, but he supported her all the way up until she did that. Like, if I had a girlfriend and she's like, hey, let's get some guns and go to the mall. And then I'm like, okay.
But he was under the impression...
She shoots a bunch of people, like, oh, fuck.
They say many times up in the fight leading up to that when the bells ring and they surrender, it's over. He was under the impression that she was going to abide by that. I don't hold him responsible for that.
No, I'm not saying I hold him responsible, but because of his participation, whether he was responsible for it or not, and he did the right thing to rectify it, he should be able to... And I'm not saying he's wrong for having his emotions. This is a very difficult position for anybody to be in, obviously. But that because he was, he knows how many lives he saved because he saw how many people she was willing to kill. So, like, I hope that he eventually arrives at that conclusion emotionally so that he can get over this. Because it would be pretty traumatizing
Tyrion does shoulder the blame because he says, what I did, and Tyrion corrects him and goes, no, what we did.
They were advisors. They helped her along. Yeah.
Well, no, when he says what we did, he meant because I asked you to do it.
Right. Yeah. Good point. Yep. So he goes, if you have Hand of King, I probably will see you again. So I kind of like that they might see each other again.
Well, he's basically saying that even,
go pee off the wall.
Off the edge of the world.
Yeah, using his
which he has done before in prior seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, with Jon, it was one of their bonding moments. So here we are walking the steps.
Which seems kind of weird, though, is that, there's really no point in the black anymore.
Not really.
Are they going to repair the hole in the wall? If so, why? What are they guarding against? There's no shield needed against the...
And they made peace with the wildlings.
Yeah, the wildlings are the free folk.
We'll get to that in a second here, but yeah, there's some... Yeah, that's a good point. So
it's really just a penal colony now.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's other... threats that we haven't heard of yet, like
maybe the
giants are angry or something like that.
And I think that's what Tyrion said. He said that there's always, despite the fact that there's no need for it anymore, there always needs to be a place for betards and broken men, as he says. Yeah,
it's right here. He says it back here. It was way back here. Bastards and broken men. Betards? Is that...
Betards. That's a new one.
I've heard you say that before.
I can't end the season with a bomb.
Why don't you just pronounce it? Just say bastard.
Ooh, that's
even
worse. You're going to summon the cursed swear dragons, and they're going to Dracarys on you.
You mean C-Red? Cursed?
Yes.
Betard?
Sure.
Betard. Wang. You can say Wang? I'm not asking you, but when I call it the W-ang.
I choose my vocabulary carefully.
I know you do. You do very much. Say fuck. Fuck, I thought it would work. All right, so we've got the ships and stuff. This is the port. We're all like loading up in deep water for those boats. Big boats can't always go into ports. It's a thing in shipping. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
So I guess they've cleaned up all the refuse from Euron's.
Yeah, there's that, and okay, that's the thing that kind of drove me a little crazy about this whole episode was. What about all the destruction? I think I've already said this, but
the entire city was
pasted over that.
Yeah, it was all leveled.
It was just a pure plot convenience, and then it's gone. And I somebody online saw it on Twitter, and I wrote, but like it was like the equivalent of like a person in a movie where they get brutally beaten, kicked, stomped, and their face punched, and everything's horrible, and then the next scene they just have a little purple on their face.
Yeah.
And then they just erase that completely.
The city was flattened.
Yeah.
And the final scenes of this episode shows them just in the Red Keep or in the Hands room, the meeting room. Everything's back to normal. The walls are as they should be. It's business as usual. It's not... It's like,
making jokes.
Yeah, what are you doing in King's Landing? How much time has passed? Clearly not much,
Like
because
that-
you all look the same age.
To me, part of that violence was supposed to be so shocking and overwhelming that the only result is they got rid of hereditary lineages for kings
And we end up with
instead of
this-
this like enormously grief-stricken nation that
Yeah.
would somehow have to deal with this violence and with
it's
the
like-
destruction of their cities and all the people that were killed.
It's like a happy Disney ending in the final scene. We'll get to it. But
Yeah, we'll
I
get
just,
to it, yeah.
I
I didn't actually hate the very final few scenes, like the final montage that ends up, but I thought it was lazy in a way because they were already done with the story. But I didn't hate it. We could talk about that.
And then Grey Worm just sailed off with his army.
Yeah.
So
Grey
it's
Worm
like,
says we're going to North.
yeah, so they're gone now.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, John, you don't have to go anymore. Just stick around.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And so Missandei's from Nath, where
Yes.
the most beautiful people live, I'm assuming, based on
Yeah.
Missandei, if that's my only data point. And she says they're peaceful and they don't fight. Remember when she talks about how Grey Worm says, well, I'll protect you there? So now what? Missandei's not going to come with them. So this guy's going to show up with a huge fleet with all these men, have no penises, and they all have poor social skills. I'm sure it's not like they're good conversationalists.
They're going to play Top Gun beach volleyball.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Maybe this is a nice place for the Unsullied to deprogram themselves and set down their violent ways. But what do the people of Nath want this bunch showing up? And one of them goes, I was boyfriend to Missandei. You know Missandei? Really hot, great boobs, really pretty, really smart, beautiful.
People
like, what the fuck? Like now, like or are they going to go in there with they have to have PTSD.
Yeah, people were talking a lot about a lot of memes, and I didn't understand them, saying something about Noth and butterflies.
Okay.
And there was something about it where I looked on Google and Wikipedia, and they said that there was like an old, explorer, someone whose name was Nymeria, which the direwolf was named after this person.
Okay.
That she or he or whoever it was went to Noth and came down with like some sort of butterfly sickness, and they had to flee after a couple of days because the sickness was killing all their crew.
Okay.
Or something.
So they have like
that.
a virus defense?
Yeah, something like that. So they basically said that when slavers go to Noth, they have to steal people very quickly because they fear the butterfly sickness.
All right. I like the sound of a butterfly sickness. That's a call where Ashton Kutcher hits you in the head with a lead pipe.
Yeah.
It's called the butterfly effect. All right, so they see John walking with his captors, sorry, his new friends with the Night's Watch. She's the best they could ask for. I don't remember what they're
I think we're talking about Sansa.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, about the Queen of the North and whatever. So you can come see me. Arya's like, nope, not going.
She initially said she can't do it because she's a woman. She doesn't say that she's a woman.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
John says, you think they're really going to tell you can't do what you want?
Yeah, but then she clarifies saying, no, the reason I can't do it is because this land is not for me.
Which, I like this idea. No one knows where all the maps are. This is cool.
Yeah.
I like this idea. Like, I've wondered this myself, what's left of the map here on this thing, and maybe she just goes around to Essos or wraps it around. But no.
Like Pac-Man?
Yeah. Like, the ghosts are chasing her around. Yeah. Get you the cherry, hurry. But, or it'd be an orange.
Yeah, someone made a joke saying that she ends up in Skyrim.
Yeah, but that'd be a whole series on its own. I'd be kind of surprised that they do that, although she's still quite young. She's, about 15, 16, 17, 18, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And they could do a whole series about that. That'd be neat. I'd be interested.
But what doesn't make sense is the whole mantra that she lives by is the lone wolf dies, the pack survives. I've got to get back to Winterfell. I've got to get back to my family. And now she's trying to do the exact opposite. It's like, I need to get as far away from them as possible.
Yeah, but she's a wanderer. She's not meant for city life. Yeah. She's got to get out and do her own thing, and she's been so traumatized by all this crazy shit.
And Bran can keep an eye on her, literally.
Yeah, that's true. He could send a crow over there with a
or just warg into her.
Yeah,
he'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm
start stabbing people. I've always wanted to know what it's like to be a lady.
Yes.
So they hug. This is a sweet moment, though. These two have a bond stronger than the other children
but
do.
when they ask, though, what's west of Westeros, and Jon says, I don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe ask Bran.
That's true. Maybe that's the internet.
He probably knows.
That's true. He has Wikipedia.
He could save her the trip.
Yeah. This whole thing about John apologizes or something.
Yeah, he says, I'm sorry I wasn't where I needed to be. Yeah. I didn't protect you when you went north of the wall. I didn't protect you when you fell from the window. Yeah. I think that's what he's meaning. He's like, I was never there for you when you needed me.
Right. But you were right where you're supposed to be. Okay, fine. All right. So, big shot of the... Now we're starting to enter, though, the kind of just sentimental shot mode here of the rest of the season. John walks off. It's sad. The kids are there. Blah, blah, blah.
Euron's fleet appears from behind that rock and shoots ballistas.
No, it's already there. It's just right here. And ballistas...
disappears out of nowhere. Yeah.
But
no one saw it.
All four of them.
I like Bran's little wheel in the back.
Yeah, the middle wheel.
I never saw that before, but it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Well, of course, yeah. You tip back.
It's the rudder.
Yeah, you need the stabilizing. 3 is more stable than 2 in that way. So we don't need to jump through this. We could read this all here. Actually, I think I missed one of these pages, so go ahead and read it. Kill the conclusion of Robert's Rebellion, blah, blah, blah. So this book, though, if I recall from the books I read, are the Kingsguard. So they all get their own entry, and they get to have their story told in this book. So so Brienne is updating it for Jaime, because this is where Jaime was left off, was that...
he was mocked early on, and this was a sign of shame for him that he didn't have the same kind of story.
A lot happened since this book got updated. So she updates the book, and she has some emotions about it. Beautiful tray here. Look at this thing. Well, jeweled.
And like a couple shots back, was that a carved lion behind her in the first shot? Back like 3?
You mean of her? Where?
Is that a lion there? No, right there.
Oh, right there? Yeah, probably.
I mean, should that even still be there? Shouldn't they just chuck that out the window?
Yeah, you just keep stuff around. It's like first thing you do when you take over a city is you break the penises off the statues. Look, save it for posterity. Just because it's not our culture doesn't mean we couldn't.
But that's the 2 ways you could kill someone's eternal soul in Egyptian culture. Was you chip off the entire head or just the nose?
Oh, really? Just the nose? That's why the Sphinx is...
Well, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but the long rumor was that Napoleon's troops used it for fire target practice.
I've heard of that.
I've heard that so many times. I don't know if that's just a Snopes thing that they could debunk. I'm not going to stand behind it, but that's what I've heard.
The ancient Egyptian stuff is so fucking awesome. It's so amazing that they had all that incredible power and technology.
Ancient aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe that.
Yeah. So she writes it up here. If this was me, there'd be like white out all over it. Probably like a drip of sriracha sauce.
Yeah. A bunch of clapping and like notes saying edit this part out.
Yeah. Nice handwriting though. Died protecting his queen. Very quick though. Escaped imprisonment and rode forth in an attempt to save the capital. She was released. He did not. She's embellishing here a little bit.
She is a little bit. But this is,
but she's honoring him by showing his story. These pretty gold lines there.
And this part bothered me legitimately. Before anyone online raged about this, the moment I saw this, it drove me insane because at work we always have like birthday cards and things that go around with people who have birthdays, and I prefer to use inky pens. I like inky pens. And she is using inky ink from an inkwell.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying right now. Yep.
It didn't dry. She closed it. I was like, good God, no. And people were like, well, that's just kind of symbolic for how D&D handled this thing. They closed the story before the ink was even dry.
Yeah, that's funny. I see what you're saying. I thought the exact same thing.
I visibly cringed when I saw that.
You ever draw something or in a greeting card especially, you close it too quickly and then all of a sudden it just smears it all over the inside if you use an inky pen.
And not only that, but you have like 20 other people who've already signed it and then you smear yours across theirs. It's like, oh God, no.
Or you run your hand over it accidentally and then now you got it on your hand. And
yeah.
So
but it is a touching moment despite what Jaime did to her, despite breaking her heart and his arc being ruined by leaving her there sniveling and crying in the dark as he drove away. She still honored him.
Yep.
So now, she went out on a high note.
Now to the small council, which is this is the talk to the hand chair. And so as Tyrion comes in, let's burn through this shit. I'm honestly fucking starving. I haven't eaten today. So Tyrion comes in and sits down. He looks around. Oh, actually, I did do this because I knew it'd be funny. Yes, it worked. There's one there. Oh, see, the camera changes a little bit in that one.
So he's the first one to arrive. and I think there was like some sort of thing in the past episodes when they were having these meetings about the chairs not being, So they devote a lot of time to him fixing the chairs.
Yep, he moves the chairs. There you go, boom, boom, boom. He moves on the chairs, and then the boys come in with Brienne.
Yeah, and I mean, this room looks very nice, by the way. The walls look very proper.
They really fixed it up.
Yeah, it's almost as though nothing happened.
Yeah, my God.
It's almost as though they're ruling from a keep that has a bustling town outside of it. We saw the port. It's like, this place wasn't completely annihilated.
Yeah. It's crazy. It should take them like decades to recover from that.
If not more.
Or years, or like 2 or 3 years or something. Not not a few weeks.
Yeah, so Davos is on the King's Council.
Yep.
For some strange reason, Sam is now Grand Maester, which is absurd.
Well, maybe he hasn't graduated yet, but he's been studying and learning stuff.
But I mean, the King's Landing role of the Maester to the King is supposed to be the Grand Maester, I thought.
Yeah.
But he's not even...
He's the new Pycelle.
He is
He bangs hookers and pretends to be old. Yeah.
So he brings in the Song of Ice and Fire. He didn't write it, but he says he helped with the title.
Archmaester.
This was this.
Yeah. Ed Rose. So helped with the title. This part was weird though. Tyrion's immediately curious what he says about him.
Yeah, and he says,
which is sort of
you're
like
not in it.
It's a
Why would
normal
he not be
thing
in
to
it?
wonder, but it's also a little weird that it's the only. And then
Tyrion played a massive role in all of this.
He was an enormous, like.
Yeah, I don't. That joke didn't really make sense to me.
It was just a joke. It was just played up for like this whole scene was like this kind of like, well, business is back to usual.
Yeah, this reminded me of like the ending of The Wizard of Oz, where it was all just a dream, and we're all just like happy, and we're all together again.
Yeah.
And Bran, I mean, I loved Bran, but what Bran did to get Highgarden, breaking nearly Tyrion's nose, pointing a crossbow at him and Jaime, basically proving once and for all that his loyalty can still be bought, that he values money above everything else, that he can never get enough. So you're going to bring him in to the King's Council and make him master of coin?
And they even asked,
are you kidding me?
Did we give you, or have we satisfied your debt or something?
Yeah,
like, that was just bad writing. It's just straight up lazy, stupid, weird writing.
He has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he cannot be trusted.
They should have gone and arrested him.
Yes.
And I don't know. Yeah, the presence of Bran is weird. They didn't do anything to show him redeeming himself. I thought there might be that in this episode after he first showed up there because Cersei got killed, and so he no longer had. I don't know. The whole thing with Bran now having this enormous position of privilege and power. It's not like Bran little-fingered his way up the chain.
No,
he just was this goon who was a good fighter and kind of a likable character mostly until this last season. And
more importantly, though,
it's very weird that they kept him in on this. It's like they forgot about him and they needed him to still be here for something.
What did Bran say when they were like, "Okay, we'll get you Highgarden, but accompany us. We're in need of a good officer or something." He's like, "No, I'm done working for you." All he wanted was wealth, influence, and to be left alone and to live a happy life. He didn't want to do anything more. Why would he, after getting Highgarden, his massive castle, his massive riches and wealth, why would he even take this job?
I don't know.
He wouldn't.
Yeah, it's weird. You're right. That's a good point. Yeah, it goes against all his motivations other than wanting to, maybe he's getting used to the life. But this is a hard way to do it. Just stay in the Highgarden and be the rich guy.
That's what you've been wanting all along. You betrayed all of your trust, all your loyalties to get Highgarden. What are you doing, Bran?
Right. So Bran comes in and they rise up and they're like, "Oh, your liege, my liege," or whatever the fuck, my queen.
And they do talk about like the dragon and where he is.
Yeah.
I think we may have just gotten to that.
That's right here. Yeah, Bran wants to know where he is.
East.
Yeah, I didn't actually get a lot of screenshots of this moment, but yeah, they like and Bran says, "Well, maybe I can find him." So he hints that
he can work into.
It's like the D&D remembered that he has his power, or that he can maybe tap into him and look.
And you're about to get to the dumbest line of the entire season.
Okay, so Podrick is in the
he's
knight.
a Sir Podrick. He's now a knight
in the Kingsguard, though. So that's
Yeah, so he can't use his little Podrick anymore.
What?
Kingsguard can't.
They're not allowed.
They're not allowed to have children.
Well, they can still. Children are the worst part of sex.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see if you captured the dumbest line of the entire season.
All right, I hope I did. King Bran the Broken, and they all. Oh, where he.
No, I think you missed it.
Where they wheel and they all say like. May he reign for a long time? Is that
where it says that we're still missing some, heads of state. So if you go back a couple, keep going.
More?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, I'll go back right there. So he's saying that we're still missing some masters here because there's still some empty chairs here. Right. And he says we're missing a master of war. And the last thing he says is, "I see we do not have a master of whisperers."
Oh.
Why the F do you need a master of whisperers if you're effing Bran?
Oh.
You are the king paramount of whisperers. You do not need that. That is what you do.
He's the master of hearing.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that is... Just blows my freaking mind.
I didn't even think about that. It is weird that like whisperers is sort of like the intel, like intelligence department.
Why do you need CIA, rumors and intrigue when you can literally stand next to anyone anywhere in the world and hit rewind play?
And maybe propaganda. Yeah, I hear you. You're right. That's a good point.
And all he's good for.
Okay. Your passion is infectious, James. That's
It
very
is
funny.
infuriating. It's like whoever wrote this last scene is like, well, I've never seen the show before, but I guess.
Yeah, it is a little like that. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's so weird. This whole that's funny. Oh, hold on, sorry. Always my favorite.
Bran. This is like a bad dream right here.
Yeah, it's very weird. And then they name all these things, and this is the part about the debt being paid and starting.
Yeah,
that
was their way of explaining the Bran thing.
Like they're just getting back to do like running the, and this whole like, yeah, we got to feed people. People are hungry. They're trying to do their job of running this government.
Yeah, they're just
armada repair, and then they start.
they're just going.
Lord of lofty titles provides like.
Yeah, it's like they're just going about their day-to-day business, and we're just...
phrase exactly, though, Lord of Lofty Titles, to me, is like, they're self-aware that Bran shouldn't be in this scene.
Yeah.
And so they trying to joke, like, kind of take it down a couple notches with this comment from Davos. So, I don't know. It just, everything kind of read a little strange here.
And here, he refers to, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but did he just refer to Sam as Grand Maester?
I think so.
Sam should not be a freaking Grand Maester.
Well, maybe he had time to go study. I mean, maybe we're mistaking this. Maybe this is like a year or two later, and they've had time to rebuild.
To be Grand Maester, that's something that you achieve when you're like 80.
Right, that's true. Yeah. But I mean, they graduate younger. Yeah, I agree though. Yeah, I mean, you have to be. There's new Grand Maesters and old Grand Maesters, I guess. And is Arch bigger than Grand? I know you got the Big Mac, the Arch Deluxe.
Yeah.
The Grand,
whatever it is,
quarter pounder.
I do not believe he is there.
Yeah. So this is about water, and like, yeah, they don't care what he has to say about it. Like, they're gonna completely ignore what even little scientific bearing there might come from the educated guy. So find the best builder. So they want to work on the water, and then the camera pulls back in this shot here, and there's just sort of this arguing, and Brienne talks about how ships should be more important than brothels, and Bran disagrees. Jackass. What's he talking about there? Is that the joke that he?
That was a joke that he never gets to finish the joke.
Yeah,
and they end with him not finishing the joke it will never be finished unless they decide to write it in the book.
Right. Okay. Yeah, the whole thing was just like I don't know, very weird. And so
this is the map room. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a little crack in the floor, but is this the extent of it?
It was pretty busted up, but this part, at least down over here.
Yeah.
So they haven't repaired that. I don't know. Everything else seems whatever.
You would think that the structural integrity of the entire building would be so compromised that they would not be sitting in there.
Right. Like they'd have to govern from a tent for 2 years while they're working on it.
When your catacombs are collapsing, that means things that were once above are now below.
Yeah.
That's not good.
And it's not like they have Caterpillar machinery to dig out stuff. I mean, come on. So now where was this? Castle Black,
you don't really have any workers because they were all burned in the streets.
So this must be the side.
This is Jon returning to the Night's Watch, which he really shouldn't need to do.
Right, like it's ridiculous. So he comes up here, he sees Tormund, and they kind of have a look, and then now the music is starting to kick in, and we have sort of this final montage of the Stark kids. This door closes, it goes dark actually, like it fades to black, which is sort of like
you think it's over, but it's not.
Well, like the South is closing forever on Jon here is how I read that decision.
Once again, he's the sacrificial lamb. He's not dead, but he effectively just died.
He's being
he died when his ark was stolen by Arya. Now he's dying again for the good of the kingdom.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So he grabs the sword, and we see sort of the different cuts at different parts. Sansa never really had her own thing, but she's got she never own equivalent, like a totem to recognize her from. Yeah. So she has this like looking like she's like fancy or something. So she's getting dressed there. There's the Valyrian steel dagger that was used to try to kill this shot, King. Right, and was the one that tried to kill Bran with earlier when. Whatever. So
God, the Kingslayer.
I like this.
The Kingslayer tried to kill the king when he pushed Bran out the window without knowing it.
Yeah,
he would have been double Kingslayer.
Yeah, this actually shows they're in Canada.
Yes,
the maple leaf. That's a big. That's a huge thing. I'm assuming those are weirwood leaves, and it's part of her drive. Well, I thought that was pretty cool shot. The way the hand came down. Arya's traveling on. She's got some map shot there. So it's cutting back and forth to different. She picks up the spyglass.
Yeah, which is very on. It's like, now I'm a ship's captain. How do I know? Here's my spyglass.
Yeah, pretty
She might as well put on a giant pirate hat, too.
Yeah, but she's also got confidence. You know, she's rich and has confidence.
What about her has ever told us that she's seaworthy?
I like tracking shots. Well, I mean, she's traveling back and forth.
Yeah, but she was never captain the ships or anything. It's like,
she swam under that creek with her bloody guts.
The thing is, nobody is sailing west just to see what's west. This is her expedition.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure she could hire people who know how to do it.
Of course, yeah. She's like, she's the patron of the boat, but she's also a tough person. She can handle her business. She's a traveler. She's an explorer. She's got her whole life ahead of her. I hope they make a series about Arya. I think that'd be kind of neat.
It'd be better if Jorah was alive.
Well, they could call it
Jorah the Explorer.
Jorah the Explorer. But the Arya, though, they could call it what's the one?
Arya lost yet?
No. What's the cartoon with the mermaid who bangs a guy?
Ariel?
Yeah. What is that called?
The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid. Yeah, because my dad called her Ariel. That's what I was trying to call back to my dad calling her Ariel. Oh. But I don't know. The camera work was fine. I kind of like back behind the headshots where they sort of frame them all similarly. That was okay. It worked for me fine enough. But we're seeing these moments. This was kind of cool with Sansa walking and everybody
they're
kneeling.
Bending the knee, and
they're all subscribing to her.
They're bending the knee to him too. They still see him as a liberator.
Well, they weren't really.
Well, kind of, sort of. They were honoring him.
But they were, yes. The comparison was obvious and deliberate.
It's like he was out on probation, then he broke his probation. He's coming back, and now the tough guy's in the field again.
And this guy's dumping the poop basket. They all shit in a basket. It's not a great system. But John's there's some Night's Black guys with all these wildling folks.
Yeah, the free folk.
The free folk, with their hair, their mussed up hair, like they all look like they're from Oregon. And there's Ghost.
And this is the great scene, Ghost missing his ear, sadly.
Yes,
but he finally acknowledges Ghost, and he finally
we
actually has some interaction. He gives him the pet that he didn't give him earlier.
Everybody was upset that he didn't touch Ghost when he said goodbye. So we get to see that, and John gives him a nice smile.
Only redeeming part of the whole episode right there. There you have it.
Just about. I did like, though, I tweeted this out about how Tyrion hands John a note, and it's a drawing of a strap-on ear. For Ghost, because Tyrion tries to solve the saddle for Bran, or for Bran, I mean. And he says a Lannister always spays his pets.
Yes.
Good line. Use it at your next holiday party. All right, so it was fine. It was nice to see that. Whatever. So rawr, we got a dire wolf on the front of a boat. Arya's looking forward. She's the king of the world. Woo! Off she goes. This is cousin It.
The first time I saw that, I was like, "Is this the Addams family? This is ridiculous looking."
Look at that! Look how crazy that looks.
It really looks dumb.
It skitters around like. It's like it starts spinning, but there's hair all 360 degrees. It looks like so freaky.
It's almost like a bad lamp cover or something, or a shade.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just the back of her head.
But it looks stupid until you can see the front of it. It's like, okay,
it rotates around, and then she looks like Viggo Mortensen's crown from the Lord of the Rings.
Kind of does, yeah.
And what if she started singing? Thank fucking God! You know, in Lord of the Rings, when he starts singing, I nearly punched the screen. No,
I love the singing in Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
when Viggo Mortensen did?
Viggo Mortensen.
Oh no, I didn't like that part. Yeah, I liked it.
Some of the singing I like because it's in the books.
Yeah, I liked it when
they do dishes.
What was that scene? It was not Isengard, but God darn it, what was that big battle that was fought? Helm's Deep. So the king there, he was eating loudly and everything, and then it was Pippin or one of the other ones started singing. As the armies went and trying to attack the orcs at the other side, so it was like this beautiful melody.
Okay, yeah,
over top of carnage and loss.
Yeah, it was the guy with the pointy nose singing, not the guy from Lost, the other guy.
No.
But thank God she didn't start singing. Oh, look, I didn't notice this. The chairs has the direwolf on the uprights there. Yeah. That's kind of cool. So we know it's not Christmas because they don't have any stockings out. She gets up, she walks forward. The Queen of the North! The Queen of the North! They all hold up their swords. By the way, thank God there's no more swords in the land. They can't build another one of those chairs.
Yeah.
This place is littered with swords. It's a whole place. It's a big sword manufacturing. Nice clean boat. Got a brand new sail. A couple of scratches there, but direwolf ready to go. Off to explore, and they're gonna get killed by wherever they land. This part I didn't quite get. I just assumed this was he's leading an expedition north to help them come home.
Yeah, he's leading them back home now that it's safe to live beyond the north, beyond the wall.
But they make it seem when he turns around and looks at it and it closes.
Maybe he's not coming back. Maybe he's living with them. Who knows?
Putting the camera this close, you have a blurry door coming down, so we wanted to feel
final.
Yeah. And this shot here, and like they made it seem like he's joining them, like he's just giving up on the Night's Watch and he's just like, going to go be a wildling and go find another egret.
I was gonna say he was mad because he had no egrets.
He doesn't want to live
He's trying to find a new one.
Doesn't want to live life with no egrets.
Exactly.
Younger sister or older sister. Yeah, he's going to do that thing with his tongue. 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 Can you say tongue?
Yeah.
T-ong.
Yeah.
T-tard. Tongue. Yeah, so there off he goes. I didn't quite... And they end on this shot here, too. So they're obviously prioritizing Jon's storyline because they made him the final
Well, freaking finally.
sequence.
A little late, though.
Yeah, I think they got sleeping bags. Or giant cinnamon rolls.
Now, how great would it be if all of a sudden, as the last shot, his sword erupts into fire and he goes, I am Azura! And then it cuts to the...
And he starts, like, slaughtering them.
Yeah.
Shit, I think...
The prophecy has come true.
Yeah. So, I thought I hit the wrong button there. But, so then we follow this shot here as he walks into the woods and the wildlings, stagger forth. And I believe this is very deliberate. Everything's deliberate, I guess. But to bookend with the very beginning of the entire series, where they end with the wall.
Starts with the
Royce or Ross or some guy's name. That little ranger excursion north of the wall where we see the White Walkers. That seems pretty.
Now the world's at peace,
and that's not such a terrible choice. But is he going with them now? Is he going with the Wildlings?
It does seem to imply that.
Like. Yeah,
but I mean, he would be betraying his black oath, the oath to the wall immediately. But maybe that's what he intends to do. Is like, does he really owe the world anything more? I think he's done enough.
Yeah, I agree. Like if he wanted, I mean, it doesn't seem like he's not just some thief that shows up and they're going to force him to do all the training again.
Yeah.
He gets to call the shots if he wants to. He's been the king of 2 different kingdoms or something or whatever. You get what I mean. So that's it. That's the end. That's the end of the Game of Thrones. Now, we had talked about this earlier. We could go on and on. I think it's already been 3 hours. And so, where the hell's Winter? I thought that they were preparing...
Yeah, you missed the shot where it shows like the green growth popping up out of the snow.
Oh, they show that?
Yeah, at the very end right there. It literally zooms in on it. It shows this
does?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
This is like right as they come out of the wall. It shows like vegetation emerging in the north.
Oh,
as if to say,
back up closer to the wall. Then
yeah, and it's like you spend all of this season building up, saying winter is coming. Your children will be born in the dark and die in the dark. The long winter is coming. And it never freaking came.
Because my understanding is that there's like their winters are variable. They'll have like a winter that's like 20 years.
Yeah.
They'll have winters that are 2 years, and they just know that this pattern. Like the eclipse prediction, like this winter is going to be one of the worst winters in 1,000 years, and so that's part of what motivates the Starks, who are the central family of the North, that they've always dealt with winter, so that's their words. Winter is coming. They have to always be, essentially saying, always be prepared. But where the hell's so is winter connected to the Night King, and or is the ascendance of the Night King and the presence of magic reemerging, kind of nefarious forces from the North? Is that all coming from along with a long winter? Like, which came first, the winter or the magic?
I think it's just...
What the fuck? Where's the winter? And it's snowing in King's Landing, which seems appropriate if winter is like traveling, or overcoming most of the northern continent,
but
which
it's
hasn't
certainly
been there
not
before.
Dark all day, and it's not freezing. People aren't...
Yeah.
Corpses aren't on the side of the road, and... It's like,
so now they're just going straight back up into...
This is just from the hyper compression of time to wrap up the story. We didn't get winter, basically.
Yeah. So winter came and went. And,
winter wasn't coming after all.
Yeah. Winter had a fake orgasm.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That threw me off a little. I thought that was a little weird, the whole winter thing. All right. So overall, Game of Thrones, the entire series, out of 1 to 10, give it a rating. The entire thing. Don't just base on...
That's a hard one.
I know.
It's like how...
Oh, and I wrote a poem. I'm going to read a poem.
How much can you dock something for its final 2 seasons if you thoroughly enjoyed everything up until that point?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that my biggest joy in the series was trying to speculate on what would happen next, and now that's gone. What did end up happening next was just not satisfactory at all.
Right.
So I would say... I'm not going to let these last 2 seasons sour for me what's been a great ride.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 8 out of 10 because I'm going to forget 7 and 8 even happened.
Okay. All right. Like, I agree. Like, I give it an 8 or a 9. I mean, it's a good show. It's a very well-made show. The material is fantastic. I read the books. I not that I remember much of the books, but you kind of internalize it anyway. And for me, the whole story was really a great ride. Maybe like a roller coaster. Like, you know, the highlights were in the first 80%, and then the end of it was a little bit lacking.
It's so important, though.
It is. I agree. That's a you don't want to lag in like the middle, like seasons like 4 through 5.
Right. If you ever, if you want to be weak somewhere, you want to end strong, like a race.
Yeah, it wasn't a great ending, but it also not up to me. It's not my story. They told their story. That's how shows work. It's almost impossible and very rare in a way where a show does end on a note that is appropriate for the quality of it that it maintains. I don't know. It's hard to say. I still love the show, and I probably will watch it again someday because I like this fantasy genre and I like all this crazy shit, and it's a lot of good stuff. Go ahead.
Did you hear the response George R. R. Martin gave when someone asked him if the books are going to end the same way as the show?
No. What do you say?
He says something like, he goes, "No, yes, but no," which effectively tells you nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is he's good at that. Yeah. I just hope he is keeping up on his diabetes medication and keeps himself alive before he finishes. You know, aside from I want his health to be good, but also
you remember what he famously said when someone said, "What do you say to those people who worry that you will die before you finish the books?" What
did he say?
He said, "To those people, F you."
Why?
He took huge offense to that. He was incredibly insulted.
I can see why it'd be a little insulting, but also it's like saying you look like you're unhealthy. Yeah. It looks like he's fucking unhealthy.
And we only value you for the joy you give us in your writing. So we just want the books before you die. So if you're gonna die, so be it. Just give us the books first.
I get that. I can see why you'd say that. But also it's like, we want you. It would be a tragedy. It'd be a loss. That's the thing about what's so sad about death, is the experience and the wisdom. Like not that I actually think a lot of old people are stupid as shit, but I don't believe that just simply age makes you wise. But over time, those who can learn, those who do become wiser, and he seems like a wise person. No one writes this kind of thing who hasn't acquired some wisdom in their life. But not even making about him, but like just it's tragic when people of wisdom die, and especially as they age and they gain more wisdom and whatever. Now I'm just fucking rambling, saying the same thing. Somewhat disappointing overall, though. Great show. Good show.
If you had told me years ago
I think we pretty much covered
that
most
Davos
of
was going to survive to the very end and become a member of the King's Council, I would have been like, yeah, you're on crack.
Yeah, that's him and Bran, and I'd like that Brienne. I mean, I don't know if I've ever had women on the council, so maybe that's a sign of forward progress.
You never had a woman knight, for sure.
Yeah, so she's up there. Podrick had a pretty.
What she should have written in the book, and this would have been great under Jaime: first knight to ever make love to another knight.
Yeah, that would have been
no
funny.
Context whatsoever. That would have been hilarious.
They think he's out there banging the hound.
Yes.
So let me read my poem. I wrote a poem that I wanted to do. I did this on the plane while waiting for it to take it. Don't read it ahead of time, James.
I can't see it from here.
Okay, good. I want you to react though. Don't feel like you have to stay silent.
Is this a joke or is this serious?
It's serious. How dare you? I'm an artist.
Okay.
You son of a bitch. All right, here we go. I have not titled it yet, so this is untitled.
I feel like this should be some dramatic music that you play when you edit
I just titled it. This is called A Song of Texts and Words. Wailing. No, shit. Walling. Wailing. Wishing. Embryonic yolk sac. Nutrients for omelets. Destroyer of cities. Sacking. Children of the forest. Men of the first. Spirals. Twirling. Always twirling. Except none twirl. Only the twirling of the heart. Good so far? You into it?
This is a hipster poem. I told you I can't see it.
Winged mother looks over marine. Who are these ants with their ropes? Uh-oh. Falling. My face. My chest. My wing. My face some more. Ow. Now that's the marine reference. You remember like the wing hits the bends?
Yeah.
You with me?
I feel like you need a little guy with a drum go.
All right, here.
You need to put some like Daddy-O in there.
Here. Yeah. You should do it. Hit that on something. It'll click. Make a noise.
It doesn't
make a noise whenever it feels appropriate to you, James. James, this is a participatory thing. I want you to. Yeah,
there
perfect.
We go.
There you go. You got it. You can set the tone here, man. I'm doing this on. I'm already regretting most of my choices here. I wrote this on the plane, waiting for it to pull back from the tarmac. All right. I didn't want the guy next to me to see it either. Liberation. Okay, so my face some more. Ow. Liberation. Late fee. Free late. Freed late. All right, no, okay, good job. But you do it when you want to. I pointed at that one, but I want you to feel
Well, I
it.
did because you stopped.
I know.
So there was a pause.
I don't want to be directing. I want you to experience this with me. Because this is both of us.
Keep your flow going.
Sorry. Too late. Ghost. That red-eyed runt. The bastard of the wolves. With a secret. Well, only needs one ear. Shorn off by a zom mouth. Bad breath. Good boy. A short man. Scarred for life. Never forgiven for being different. Great mind. Wanting heart. Organizer of chairs. The smallest of councils. That's a good line. Oh, councils is spelled Counsels. Bran. Seeker of wisdom. Finder of incest. In nest? Trees. Roots. Destiny. Question. Destiny? Say got a question mark. Young tree old man. Packets and sends. That's an internet. He's the internet. Yeah. Wooden as wood. Wooden as what the fuck? Wooden as wood.
This is a long flight.
It keeps going. There was a lot of delays. They had a mechanical problem. Wise as wheels. Sorry about your toes. Bow to the king. The bro kin king. Broken is spelled B-R-O space K-I-N. That part wasn't in the poem, but the broken king. All right. Faces of death, of life, guts of iron, of pointy ends, oranges of round, better than stairs, for rolling away from waffles. I don't know what. Oh, not waifs. I thought it said waffles. From waifs, winds to destiny. I'm trying to do different things about different characters. Do you know who that one's about?
Which one? The last line?
Rolling away from waifs.
Rolling away from waves? Probably Arya tumbling down the stairs.
You tune out. You're not making noises anymore.
Well, I'm trying to understand the words, the bars.
Well, feel it. Feel it with me, bro. Oh, wind to destiny. Wind. And then there's the wind emoji.
Do you have anything with the oranges falling down after her? Pitter patter, oranges cascading.
No, I'm not a good poet. Why would I do that? Yeah, you oranges of round is what I called it.
Oh, I missed that part. Keep going.
Hornhill, hornbill. Diabetes, livabetes. It's because Sam's fat. Yeah. Small cuts to big sword. Because he cuts off Jorah with small cuts. And then
Is this going in chronological order?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably not. I don't think so. And then he gives him a big sword.
Yeah. Oh, that's way out of order. It happens way. Okay.
I don't know. Eggs, shells, cracks, egg tooths, breath of flame.
Is that a hot pie thing?
I wish. I forgot about hot pie. He should have been on the throne. Wing of whoosh, head of horns, roar of doom, foot of goat stabbling. Oh, I misspelled. So stab.
Head of horns, Night King. Got it.
No, that's the dragon.
No.
Sorry.
Shoot.
He's got horns on his head. Stabling. It's supposed to be stabbing. Heart of dog, melter of seats.
Heart of dog. Oh, because he's like a good boy.
He's loyal. Yeah, he's like loyal to his mom. Melter of seats because he melts the chair.
Yes.
Seats gone long. Like this fucking poem. A better world, safer world, out of swords, no more chairs.
Daddy-o.
Cool, man. So good poem, James. I did a poem.
You really needed to put a black turtleneck on before you did it.
Oh, I have one on. I hope that wasn't too horrible. What'd you think? Want me to reread it?
No, please no.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a poem for everybody. No other channel does poetry because they suck.
I look forward to your taboo poem.
Oh yeah, taboo. Hot. All right. Okay. Good night, everybody. What else we got? Anything else? I just feel like I'm just kind of fuddling around here. Thanks for watching. Feel free to straighten the knee on our channel now that we're not going to be producing these for a while. Maybe we'll be back. I would like you to keep bending the knee. Okay, I'm really sticking to this idea, but because it does help us reach more people. We do want it is kind of nice to see the numbers stay high or where they are. But if you don't need to unsubscribe, then don't. And if you do want to, go ahead. That's fucking cool too. I do have another podcast, Winners and Losers. I haven't really been recording episodes lately. I am going to get back to it. It's politics. It's actually kind of crazy. It's me screaming about politics, and I'm actually possibly expanding into another show at my work at the Young Turks. So
you're a Republican now too.
I'm super Republican, hardcore.
You subverted expectations.
Get 'em! Yeah, surprised everybody. Yeah. White men, roar! Yeah, so that's politics and shit. And there's actually a big old archive there. Back when I was first starting out as a comedian, you could check out those old podcasts on winners and losers. But meanwhile, thanks for listening. Yeah, I might have another show I'm coming up with too that could be pretty cool. We'll see. I don't know. James, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. You've been great. I appreciate you. I hope we can find out what's on the other side of the map someday. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, you know what I mean?
It's Minecraft land.
Minecraft land. And thanks for listening, guys. James, that's all I got. I feel sad. I feel a little sad. That's why I'm not ending this. I normally don't like goodbyes. I like when I'm just leaving. I don't like standing around the parking lot talking about how you're going to get home like so many fucking people do. I just rather go. But right now, I feel like we're missing this, even though it's a lot of work and it's a big kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. Yeah. But thanks for doing it with me, James. I appreciate it.
I just wish it ended differently.
Okay, take your hand off my leg now.
With a better poem?
A better poem. How dare you?